Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online. ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming. Free always. Don't miss anything. Sometimes you do, and if that happens, go get caught up after the show. We'll post all 3 hours, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion of the program. You want to watch the show being performed, you can on Twitter. Follow at 979 ESPN Radio, and you'll see it Periscope. Also on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, YouTubers. Email the show if you like, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. We got a really nice email today. I'll have to read in a moment. Just had that forwarded over from Matthew this morning. It was nice. And speaking of morning, this is being recorded in the morning. This is not 3 o'clock. It's actually 7:25 a.m. As yours truly is heading out on the road. I'm probably there by now to Augusta National, which, by the way, happy Masters Week, everybody. Tom, I know you love the Masters.
Yes, sir.
We all do. We got our pool. I got to get my picks in before I leave.
You're good until Wednesday at 6. But
okay, I got a little time.
Maybe some rules changes, so if you review the big email.
I saw the email, but I didn't review it. I thought, I'm old hat in this. I know the deal, but there's rules changes.
Well, we're changing potential rules, one of which is payout. See, that's a big rule change.
Okay, I like that. I take it that the winner wins more?
Might be pretzels instead of potato chips.
I got it.
Of course.
I got it. All right. Well, I'll do that. And I have a Masters packet that they sent me that I've got to peruse before I get up there from the PGA Tour Network, which, I mean, I'll peruse it just to be in the knowledge, but I don't really know that I'm going to have to worry about it too much. Doing a show up there with Trey Jones, and I want to thank him and Florida State Golf. Good luck, Harry Ellis, who's competing in the Masters, and that's what it's really all about. Not my trip up there, although I am excited. Harry, of course, won the British Amateur. He is a member of the Florida State Golf team and has been really good for them for a number of years now, and he competed in the actual British Open because he won the British Amateur, and now he's competing in the Masters. Always cool to have FSU guys out there. Daniel Berger will be participating. Unfortunately, Brooks Koepka is still hurt. He will be there cheering on his Florida State guys, but he will not be able to compete. And I'm going to have a first-hand front row seat for all this going up there and going to be staying there on the grounds, and it's going to be incredible. I'm excited. Hopefully I can get some audio from Harry. Hopefully I can get some audio from Trey, because really picking their brain about what this process is like. I know they've been there since the weekend. They're playing very early this morning. Harry is wanting to get out there, get a round in, I guess, real early today. He'll be off the course, I think, by noon, and then they're going to really relax. He's going to play tomorrow. I'll get to see that. But I think he may be only playing 9 tomorrow, from my understanding. A lot of guys' schedules are different. I'm learning all about this. Some people like to play a lot the day before. Some people like to dial it way back. Some people get all their work in today and very early tomorrow, and then they don't want to touch a club until they tee it off. And I can't imagine what that's like, the pressure of all that. We'll get to more Masters stuff in a bit, because it is an intriguing Masters above and beyond that, with Tiger playing well, Phil playing well, Rory regaining his form. Jordan Spieth over the weekend looked really good, finally made putts and was right there. So just a lot to talk about, what we potentially could see.
Boy, yeah, you picked a loser of a year to go to Augusta National. Good Lord, this field. What a stinker.
Yeah, it does have the potential to be something really, really special, and I'm excited just like anybody else, but I also I don't know what to expect in that. I really do. You don't want to be let down. I'm not talking about the actual grounds, which I'm sure are going to be breathtaking. But, I mean, you really have the potential for all of the greatest players, or at least a handful, to be in the mix on a Sunday with Dustin, who didn't play last year because he fell down the steps, and which is crazy still. I can't believe that happened. He's on the grounds on a Wednesday. Oh, whatever happened, happened. But,
whoopsie.
Yeah. So you get Dustin now. Obviously, Bubba's playing great, which we roll our eyes, but this course suits him well, and he's won it twice.
Oh, yes, it does.
So he's playing well. Tiger's playing well. Rory regained form. Obviously, Spieth, who hasn't looked good all year, looked good this week, real good. And Jason Day has played well. All these guys have played well. I mean, I'm forgetting tons of people, but.
And it was potentially one of the great Masters of all time. Instead, Charlie Hoffman's week finally came.
Well, and wouldn't that be something, right?
Well, yeah, because he's been, the bridesmaid so often.
Yeah,
actually, I would get pretty.
For him, yeah. Well,
Hoffman by 8 shots.
Bo Hostler, who couldn't get it done at the Houston Open, has won the Masters. Yeah, we'd be like, ugh.
And Xander Schauffele.
Hey, we have so much that we can get into here, but that putt Ian Poulter made on 18 yesterday, did you see it?
I did not, no.
We'll get to it. That dude, I don't know how he hasn't won 150 times on tour, because nobody's got a bigger heart when it comes to a putt you have to make from like great distances with the whole tournament on the line.
Well, because he's a make or miss player, and that sounds, so obvious. But in match play style, you're trying to make everything, and that's different than stroke play. But he lives for the adrenaline of make everything and try to make everything.
Them. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But in medal play, which is stroke play, that's a hard mentality for 4 days.
And that is also interesting, by the way. But again, we're getting caught up because you and I both love golf, so we should probably do this. We'll get to football momentarily, and obviously we're all just continuing to gear up for this. I'm actually more and more excited every day about what I'm hearing in camp with basically the young receivers, whether it's DJ Matthews or Tamron Terry, that continue to shine and opportunities that are being given to them and other guys. You realize that maybe, just maybe, that not having a bevy of receivers, experienced receivers at that, in this camp, are helping out guys now that as we project forward to that big fateful night against Virginia Tech on Monday, September the 3rd, this will have benefited them greatly. They're getting tons of reps, and they're making the most of those reps. Every day you hear more about Terry. When I talk to people over there, all they talk about is Tamron Terry. And we did this on Friday, talking a little bit about how impressed we were at the open practice with him. But now he's making plays, and it's for real, and they've got the pads on, and he's becoming a go-to guy. And Willie's talking about him after practice. To go along with Matthews and the highlight reels you see every day.
Well, it's the barriers to success question with Jimbo. And that was, even when things were going well here, a primary question about, how hard is it just to get on the field at Florida State with this offense?
Right.
Jimbo will preach up and down about how the offense is not complicated. But I'll tell you what, if you have young players, freshmen and sophomores, like the incoming guys that we signed, a couple of blue chippers at the receiver position, and some sophomores, and DJ Matthews and Terry stand out, and they're the guys that are, going to take the bulk of your yardage and reception count, we're going to say, boy, we don't even know ourselves here, because the next year in this recruiting cycle for 2019, if we get a 5-star receiver, you could rightfully expect that he plays next year.
Yeah, there's a chance he's going to get on the field.
You're going to have to wire yourself differently. And I agree. My attention's been turned to the spring game for a little while now. And to me, it's all about how does the offensive line hold up against what should be a really stout starting defensive front. We'll see what the depth is like. Last year was a lot better depth-wise, I think, than this year will be. But that front line with Christmas and Marvin Wilson in the middle,
it's going to be fun.
Aim and Kando on the outside, well, that's a hell of a test.
I can't wait to see what Kando is. Like, now that, he has to be a guy. He's got to be a dude.
Well, the body type says.
Oh, he should be.
Right.
But you still got to see the quickness off the line, right?
Yes.
I mean, Josh Sweat looked amazing, too. But
that is correct.
Still got to see.
Well, he was an edge setter.
So, one of the things that made me smile, the biggest over the weekend, of course, you guys saw Florida State takes 2 of 3 from Louisville, missed out on the sweep on Saturday. But they're continuing to win big series in their division against really good teams, and that's a big deal. And I know we talked a lot at length about the inability to get past Florida in that 1-0 game, a really well-played game that they lost. But they are beating the teams they got to beat in conference. And Jonathan Foster hit a pinch hit, walk-off, 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th to win the game the other night. And I mean, I have to admit, I was like a child jumping around to watch that because I really wanted that game. I really didn't want to have to go into the final game. You know what I mean? I wanted that game. And it's his second home run of the season, his first at-bat of the night. And the kid, when you watch him, first of all, it's as if he believes that is going to happen. That dude is thick. That's a big, strong man. He's not – we need to get him more time.
It's a throwback body type.
It is, isn't it?
The shoulders are forward.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Looks like Jeremy Burnett's out there.
Yeah, he's a big dude. And anyhow, he was obviously elated. And, you have Mike Salvatore, who at the beginning of the year, Salvatore couldn't hit. Now he can hit. He's doing great. He hit a home run. So all I care about really is that you continue to win series. By the way, Salvatore, 11 of 25 over his last however long hitting streak going
25 at-bats?
Yeah, well, it's 7 games, I think it is.
Right,
but yeah. And then, of course, Drew Parrish and others, as we're going to get into this situation where that weekend rotation is going to get
Well,
changed.
this is something that the assistant coach, assistant head coach, has wanted since even Holton was healthy. I mean, it's your weekday guy. How many weekday tests does he need to pass before Andrew Karp is in the weekend rotation?
The final, it's tonight. And I'm talking about, obviously, the end of the NCAA March Madness run for Villanova in Michigan. It is not a surprise. We certainly talked about what we thought would happen over the weekend and those two teams winning. It is hard to pick anybody but Villanova right now. They are really good, and they're playing with the utmost confidence. And I think when you watch those two games, and well, Chicago had a shot there, and then it's a great run and stout defense late, and it's a great, Michigan smothers them eventually. I sat in awe watching what Villanova did to Kansas. I almost felt bad for Kansas because there was not a lot they could do. Shots from NBA three-point range, shots with a hand in the face, incredible ball movement. Villanova's so in sync right now. Now, maybe in a one-off, Michigan tonight, the defense could make it happen.
Well, you worry about playing the perfect game if you're a fatalist, but there is something to that, right?
Right.
Using all those bullets. I mean, think about it. Michigan plays a perfect game against Texas A&M, and we give them everything they can handle. At the very least, it looks very different on the court. This isn't a team that flirted with 100 points a game ago.
No.
They can't even score 60. So, yeah, that's the danger here, especially against a good defensive team like Michigan.
Well, and it's weird because one of the problems that everybody's had going against Villanova, there are so many shooters on the floor, and the spacing is so good for Villanova. And there's moments in these games where you watch. I can't imagine how frustrating it is when they're playing really well and they're believing. You can play perfectly on defense, and they'll take a contested three from way out. How far do I have to extend? I mean, how far do I have to extend? So that, I think, is the hardest part when you watch this. I mean, Brunson is so good that I continue to think, well, that between that vision and the way they spot up, there's just not a lot you can do to avoid at least long stretches where Villanova's making a lot of baskets. And you have to find a way to match that. Can Michigan shoot to that extent? Now, we know they can defend, so there's not going to be a lot in the paint, I don't think, for Villanova, although that's where they, obviously they operate comfortably to kick out. But I don't think Michigan will give up a lot. Michigan won't give up a lot at the rim is what I'm saying. But now, can Michigan on the other end knock down shots?
Right, and that's where you wonder, given how easy the road has been, if you just look at the seeding, just the seeding. I'm not talking about the games themselves because, Loyola Chicago belonged in the Final Four. They earned their right in the Final Four, and we belonged in the Elite Eight, and we had earned our right to be there. But if you look at the seedings, I mean, Michigan, have they really been tested like this? The answer is no. We already know that. But the upper echelon of what they can produce on one night, it's not crazy. If they're in this game at the under 4 timeout,
when the way
it's
they
not,
play.
You're right. They're a 3 seed that was trending upward. It was a team that we thought, hell, I put them in my championship game in the bracket. I thought they'd be playing Virginia, admittedly, but I had them in the championship game because they were getting hot at the right time.
We each got one. I had Villanova winning.
Did you?
Yeah,
well, there you go.
But not against Michigan, so you got me on the other side.
Right. So we'll see. But there's no doubt that the Vegas favorite, and it's the biggest one in a long time. I read that, Villanova. It's the right theoretical pick.
I just don't think Simpson can take away Brunson, and that's the whole thing. He's a great defensive player, so Brunson's just been the whole thing. Actually, whenever you talk to anybody that covers that league in the Big East and the way Villanova has just breezed through it, they always bring up Brunson over and over and over again. They're like, well, good luck trying to stop that dude. And it's funny because it's always fatalist. It's always like, yep, lots of really good players have tried to stop that guy from creating, and nobody can. If Michigan does tonight, that is well, first of all, that would be another tip of the cap to their defense and what Beeline's been able to install.
Well, and Beeline, listen, I know it a little bit because of our mutual friend. I've watched Michigan. They got to the final against Louisville a few years back.
Well, he's a great coach.
Yes. There's no doubt. We sleep on him a little bit because the talking points are always about ACC coaches or what Jay Wright's done, what Tom Izzo has done. But you look in the same conference as Izzo, and their in-state rival is pretty good. Beeline, the question is with him every year is it too complex
Right,
like our old football program,
right.
that it gets in the way of development. But if people can run what he's trying to teach, well, they can give anybody in the country problems.
Here's a shocker. You guys are going to ask me this, and the answer is yes. I saw some of the women's Final Four, and I saw the ending, and I had to smile. I was, happy that UConn is not winning another national championship. So when that upset occurred, I did yell Muffet McGraw at the top of my lungs. And now Muffet McGraw stands atop the mountain. Oh, yes, she does. Muffet McGraw! I figured we'd get a lot of life out of this for the remaining days because, I mean, it's happened. That video, the sternness, the walk through the hall has led to a national championship.
I saw that somebody requested the full version of the Muffet McGraw. Will there be a designated time today?
Maybe later in the program.
Okay.
We can do that. They were down as many as 15 points and came all the way back to win that game. That's
Is that so? They were down 15?
They were down 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then the last second shot falls, and it's an off-balance three that is incredible as it goes. And I have to admit, I smiled. I thought, all right, that's pretty good. That was high-level play.
Did you see it was on social, the announcer cam? They had it of the ESPN broadcast.
How stunned they are?
Yeah, they're stunned. Lobo is stunned, and then Amin on the right, he jumps out of his chair because, I mean, obviously there's a comeback involved. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
But he jumps out of his chair for the call. Hey, man, a buzzer beater is a buzzer beater.
Well, and it's for a national title.
Right.
It's a big damn deal.
Yes.
See, this is the thing. I'll just say this about I wasn't immersed in the women's Final Four, so I'm not going to pretend that I was. I did see glimpses of both, and there were really good games, both the final game, and then obviously what led to it on both sides. Those games were all good. The fact that UConn got upset is great. And I had somebody tweet at me last week about women's basketball, and they were making a reference to men's basketball. And the difference between the sports has always been there isn't a competitive balance in women's basketball. And I will now say that we've seen UConn get knocked off a couple times in the last 3 years. This is very good for women's basketball. I'm so tired of Jay Billis and everybody else telling us how great UConn is for women's basketball. No. They are not good for women's basketball if they're the only thing in women's basketball, which when they're winning 8 straight national titles and beating people by 105, that's never good for competitive balance and to draw interest of the casual fan, of which when it comes to women's basketball, I am just a casual fan, if that. It's gotten a lot better. The quality of play is a lot better than it used to be without question, but there has been a serious lack. 5, 6 teams maybe in the country any good? By way of comparison to UConn?
Yeah, it's an underlying issue in college football. It hasn't risen to the top yet because there's still the nation is still discovering at large what college football can be. But, at some point, if it's only going to be Ohio State, Alabama, Florida State,
right.
and
USC,
USC and
Oklahoma,
a handful of 5 or 6 other teams, at what point do people say, well, I don't really care. I mean, this is not my market, so I don't want to watch Georgia play Alabama for the right to go to the playoff every single year or whatever it is.
I brought that up to Paul Feinbaum, who I thought would disagree with me, but he didn't. And I'm not saying that to get brownie points because I don't really care what Paul Feinbaum says, but given that he's covered Alabama for so long and is clearly in their pocket, when I had a chance to talk to him, I said, do you think Alabama's good for college football? Clearly implied in the questions that I don't. And I thought he would challenge me on it, which would lead to great conversation anyhow. But he said, no, probably not. I mean, because I think he cares about college football just like we care about college football. Like all of us have our preferences, but we care about the sport. And you're exactly right. If you're going to compare that to women's basketball, the difference is there's probably 20 teams, maybe 15
that can rise up
yes. for a season and make a run to the playoff and make it interesting. In women's basketball, there's like 6, and I'm being generous. I think I'm being generous, right? Mississippi State has proven themselves now. South Carolina has, obviously. Notre Dame clearly now. UConn
used to be Baylor.
Anybody else I should be mentioning here? I mean, Florida State. I'd like to say Florida State, but they haven't reached the Final Four. It's not, and they certainly.
Yeah, we've been on the precipice, but it's been, this year was probably a step back, right? We didn't make it out of Tallahassee.
No, right. Got trounced by Buffalo. So, I I'd like to believe we're getting to a place where we can get up to 10 to 15 teams that in a given year you go into the season and go, I don't know, there's a lot of teams in the top 20 that can win the whole thing. That's important for them to grow, for women's basketball to grow in terms of bringing in a bunch of guys, bringing in people that aren't their target audience or hasn't been the core of their audience at the very least over time. I've been willing to concede that the product is much better, and I don't just dismiss it summarily like I used to. I'll tune in every now and then and watch a competitive game, and I get excited when I see it because I love sports, and that's fine. But typically, it's a foregone conclusion. This is a second time in, 3 or 4 years that it's not a foregone conclusion. The games have been close. There have been teams to rise up and show they can compete with UConn and beat UConn. That's a big deal. It was a good thing for women's basketball. I don't really care about Notre Dame, but given what they did to us here,
it's a better look.
It's nice to know that they went on to win the national championship. So, all right, so that's an aside. I did watch it. Save your emails. I did catch some of it anyhow.
Wow, that's impressive.
You did not catch a second of it based on your response, which there's nothing wrong with. That's fine.
No, but not even in a belittling way. I just I watched the hockey game last night, and that was it. I did some traveling this week, so, I was tired.
You weren't happy when you watched that hockey game. We got problems, Tom. We got problems. I'll be tuning into the podcast, but, my man, we got issues.
It is the most bizarre finish to a season because I feel like I got on board for this podcast when – we're a first-place-ish team. We're setting records, franchise records, and yet it's not good enough. And we all know it's not good enough. Even though we're 110 points, whatever it's going to be, we know it's not good enough. They need to be better. Well, it's just a funky deal.
But the problem is, too, and you can tell me certainly better than I can, I've watched a ton this year, but I don't watch the breadth of hockey that you do. So I am locked in on us, meaning the Lightning. And I certainly know the challengers to the throne in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously I understand that Nashville's very good. I understand that Vegas is very good. Pittsburgh is very good. I got you.
Winnipeg, how about that?
Right. I got the teams that are there, and I've seen enough of those teams to know they're good, and I've watched us play them and all of that. But that said, it doesn't feel like not only is it not going to be enough to get past Boston, because it's not. Boston's going to win it, the East. But it doesn't feel like we're good enough right now to beat any of those aforementioned teams in a series.
That's the way we're trending at the moment.
Yeah.
It's quite frustrating, but it looks like Toronto is going to be the first-round opponent. I didn't want to play Toronto because they're fast and they're well-coached, but styles make fights, and they want to play up and down, and we can do that better than any other team, I think. The problem is what suits a regular season versus what suits the playoffs. For example.
Maybe we're bored.
No, there's something to that.
Right.
There's a fatigue factor. I think they were so hell-bent on righting the wrongs of last year that they might have tuckered themselves out with a few weeks to go in the season. The best thing that can happen now that they lost last night is just rest everybody you need to rest, because the Stanley Cup playoffs, as a PSA for folks that like to tune in just to the playoffs
which
and
is
tired
great.
of regular
which
season
is
talk,
great, yeah.
They start next Thursday and next Friday. That's when the two series kick off. So there you go.
All right, so today is, again, we're doing this right now in the morning in the can. I'm on the road at the time that you listen to this, arriving in Augusta, basically hoping to be able to do a broadcast up in Augusta. Not sure that we can, at least for here on these airwaves. If not, I'll be gone tomorrow and Wednesday. I'll be back on the air with you guys on Thursday, back on the air with you on Friday. I'm leaving before the actual tournament starts. I'm going to the practice rounds, and admittedly, I'm asking you for some kindness. Don't hold it against me. I'm going to Augusta. I've always wanted to. It's my chance, and I'm not going to miss out on spring game week or anything like that. So we'll get it done. But we'll continue fresh content for the day. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Why does Mahindra have 97% satisfaction? Ask our owners.
This gives me the ability to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
I decided on Mahindra just because of the sheer strength, the size, the ease of the workability, and it was more of a comfortable machine than the others.
You could lift just about anything with that thing. It has never let me down.
And now get the industry's best 7-year limited powertrain warranty on select models.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack. We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Chant.com and use promo code WARCHANT30.
Shot, save, rebound, score!
The playoffs are here. The Corner Pocket is your home all spring long for all the heart-pounding moments in the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's held in a shot, save, rebound,
The Corner Pocket on Appalachia Parkway next to Earth Fair is your headquarters for Trivia Tuesdays, Beer Bingo Thursdays, and of course, all the moments you'll never forget.
For the championship!
The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
At Advance Auto Parts, we offer you the quality parts you want and knowledge you need to help get you back on the road. And we're always looking for ways to help you save. Right now, get CarQuest conventional motor oil for just $2.96 a quart. Talk about an amazing price. Plus, find great prices on CarQuest's full line of motor oil. Go to Advance or participating CarQuest Auto Parts stores to take advantage of this great offer while it lasts. Advance Auto Parts, where oil is priced like it should be.
We're here in this new neighborhood to talk about the American dream. Looking good, boys. A dream that Navy Federal Credit Union wants to help you celebrate with a mortgage that you won't lose sleep over. Navy Federal offers 100% financing, no private mortgage insurance, and even no money down on a variety of conventional and VA loans. So start living your dream today. Subject to approval, 100% financing loans include an additional funding fee. Visit NavyFederal.org for more information. Open to the Armed Forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Did you watch? Probably not. I think you were traveling back to town, Tom. Did you watch Sunday Night Baseball last night?
No. Was there another incident with a Dodgers fan?
No, there was not.
Okay.
No, there was not. Well, maybe.
Every night.
Yeah, seems that way, right?
What is it about? I mean, you're in L.A.
I don't know. I don't get it either. I don't know what's a little unruly. But first of all, this is part of a larger talking point that, man, I know not everybody shares this same enthusiasm, but it was good to have baseball on all weekend. Just even, as I like to say, in the background. Watching that was absolutely enjoyable. And I did take in a ton of baseball. But one thing I can't help but notice and say again, we saw it last year in the playoffs. But as you take in a broadcast, obviously a lot of it depends on how much you enjoy the play-by-play and the color analysts and the presentation of the game. And some crews are better than others. Alex Rodriguez is really good. I mean, he is really good. I hate to say it. It makes me sick because he is such a despicable human being. But damn it, man, he is fantastic. I'm mesmerized, Tom. He is fantastic. I'm sitting over there telling Vasgersian to shut up. I want to hear Alex Rodriguez talk some more.
That's pretty typical, though.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at, what it is this. There's no, and I shouldn't be surprised. You can be the fakest, most superficial person in the world, and surely A-Rod is, and still have an intimate knowledge of the game that goes well beyond the average fan, and thus if you're articulate, you can be insightful. And if you can convey your knowledge of hitting or fielding or how to play the game in a way that's entertaining and succinct, then you can do good things for a broadcast. And Alex is really, really good. As a baseball guy, it stands to reason with all the success he had, but a lot of guys are just physically gifted and have incredible bat speed. He's a big dude, 6'3", 230, whatever he was. Loved steroids, really quick bat, all of that good stuff. But, all right, so I got you, but the knowledge of the game is there, and his ability to call on it in situations, at-bats, certain situations, baseball situations, first and second, one out, these kinds of things. He is quick, he's insightful, and it is a good broadcast because of him. And also, and I forget her name, she does a great job, the female voice that's been on Sunday Night Baseball for the last couple of years. Who am I forgetting? Forgive me, I'm not just dismissing her. She's great, too.
Yes, Jessica Mendoza.
That's her. She's great. The excursion's going to, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But Mendoza and A-Rod, bravo. I'm highly critical of that broadcast team every time, no matter who it is, because I love Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah. Well, yes, obviously, there was a standard at one time, and Shulman was great.
Shulman
was great.
Yeah.
In fact, if Shulman was still in the booth with that team, you may have had the home run, but obviously he didn't want to do the travel anymore, and who can blame him? He wanted to do Blue Jays games instead. But I agree. There was a magic around Sunday Night Baseball when I was a kid, and it was because of the scarcity. And this is what we talk about.
Right.
When you were on the national platform, be it on ESPN, NBC, CBS, wherever it was, you got excited. You got butterflies in your stomach because you wanted to perform well in front of the country. Now it's nice to be on Sunday Night Baseball, but they have to play the game so late. And,
yeah.
I could get any game I want anytime, and I'd rather have Gary, Keith, and Ron calling my Mets game than Shulman and Aaron Boone and whoever the old team was at Mendoza. So it's not the same as it was, but if it's good, then
it's good, man. Go listen to A-Rod for a full game. He's really good. And they do features with him talking to players on the field, the video beforehand during the day. It's good.
Well, Tirico and Gruden were great for Monday Night Football. I think they brought back some of the the pomp and circumstance of that game. And you felt like, well, oh, my God, we got the good team calling our game. So it does make a difference, but,
Well, and I can tell you that I roll my eyes, obviously, whenever they do the video presentation with A-Rod down on the field talking to somebody. He was talking to Joe Panic, who hit a solo home run back-to-back games. They won 1-0, all of that, which is kind of first time it's ever happened in Major League Baseball, by the way.
Oh, the same guy.
Yeah,
yes,
same guy.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, they were talking to him, and the two of them were standing there, and you see A-Rod dressed as he is, and you kind of snicker at him.
Nice sweater.
But they got into a really interesting discussion that I think any baseball fan would enjoy, which was about hitting and how it's changed and why strikeouts are up. And he had an actual opinion on this that seemed to be based in some form of logic, in that he was saying, look, when I was coming up, we were taught to get on top of the baseball, that you created backspin that way. If you were going to hit home runs, you were going to get on top of the baseball no matter where it was. You were almost coming sharp, straight down on the baseball. Guys today are all taught to swing up, almost like a golf swing, trying to lift the ball. They want to get the ball in the air more readily, and they are now swinging up. The problem with that as a hitter is it creates a blind spot right here, and he's showcasing where that would be and why. And it's what's led to, in his opinion, the increase in strikeouts. He said, okay, you won't hit 39 home runs the way, that necessarily the way I hit, maybe you hit 29, but you also hit this many doubles and drive in this many people, and you move guys over, and there aren't so many damn strikeouts. And it was compelling because he and Joe Pennick were talking about the different philosophies. If that's what he's going to bring to the table, and I think this is missing in baseball broadcasting in general, the game is an intricate game. There are subtleties to the game that are not picked up if you're a casual fan just watching a game. You think there are guys just standing around. You're waiting on a pitcher to throw the baseball. You're waiting on a hitter to take a swing and put the ball in play. There are a lot of things going on in every at-bat. You know this, Tom. A lot of people defensively doing things based on the pitch selection, based on the count, based on the number of outs, based on the... If you can have somebody bring that to the table succinctly, entertaining, and with certainly credibility that he brings, I mean, the guy... obviously was very successful as a player. I think it will only aid in growing the sport, and I'm for that because I think baseball gets a bad rap too often.
Well, I think if this relates to the direction of TV broadcasting in general, and what I mean by that is so MLB Network, 479 Xfinity, right? One of the great networks and great methods of consuming sports, across all sports. Because on a random Wednesday night, when you have 5 games, they're going to get you coverage to the best game. But when you get to the big moment in the best game, so it's 7th inning, it's Texas-Houston, it's 3-3, bags loaded, 2 outs. This is great stuff. Baseball takes 2 to 3 minutes at minimum for that at-bat, unless somebody's hacking first
the build,
pitch.
Yeah.
So there's a build-up and there's an opportunity to discuss. Think about the megacasts for college football and the national title game. There are a lot of different ways you can consume that game. And we talk about how much we love the coach's film room when, you have 5 or 6 coaches around.
Yeah.
And they're watching the all-22 and they're breaking it down on the fly. It's more about conversation as the game goes on now than it is true play-by-play and analyst. I think that's the way this thing is going. So, yes, if Sunday Night Baseball is going to adopt a style that's more similar to MLB Tonight on MLB Network,
got to do it.
It's going to suit their broadcast better. I think most sports are going to move that way. It's just the nature of how we consume things. We'd rather have a conversation than we would, a play-by-play guy telling you just the blood and guts of what's going on and an analyst giving you the same 5 cliches and, rotation.
I just hate that it has to be A-Rod that ushers in.
Well, it's better than McCarver, right? I mean,
much better. Or
it
Joe.
It wasn't that long ago that we had Tim McCarver telling us what was going on in the game. You're like, well, great, thanks. He's choking up on this pitch.
Well,
anything else?
Yeah, and Joe Morgan, who's a Hall of Famer, it was equally as bad. I mean, it was cliche after cliche. It was like they were regurgitating things they've heard other people say about baseball broadcasts as opposed to lending you.
Yeah, he's going to shorten up here. Great.
So the Mets took 2 of 3?
They did. Yeah, that was one of those weird series. We played Thursday and then took Friday off. And then we won Saturday's game. And Steven Matz did what Steven Matz does yesterday. But Luke Weaver got a win, so he starts the season 1-0 for the Cardinals. So there's a former Knoll doing some things.
I was freaked out. The Pirates gave up a 4-run lead in the 9th in the opener and rallied to win it in the 13th.
Oh, I thought it was going on still.
No.
Your first game. I thought you were still playing.
We're undefeated.
Oh, okay.
3-0, buddy. Swept Detroit. I got to reach out to our friends from Detroit just to make note. That was a fun series. In
Sounds
America.
like mobsters.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like it was going to go on forever. Yeah, up 10-6. One of the few bright spots for the Buccos is a reliever by the name of Felipe Rivero who couldn't get anybody out. Once again, a manager going to a pitcher in a non-save situation. I don't care if it's the first game or
Smoker blew it for you too on.
We ended up. The good news is once they pulled Rivero.
Yeah.
Who couldn't get anybody out.
Yeah. Smoker was left to clean up the mess.
Yes. Now the good news is though he turned around and got 2 saves in the following 2 games to remedy the situation. But I have to confess that feeling that we all have as fans when we start the new season, and no matter how illogical it is. When you win your first series, let alone sweep it, Tom, you are pie in the sky guy. You're, what's possible now? Well, it could just be that Detroit's going to lose 105 games.
Could be.
I think it's likely. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
TNT Supercenter is your one-stop shop for the largest inventory of golf carts and accessories, stocking over 150 new and pre-owned carts with prices starting under $2,000. Whether you're looking for a standard or custom golf cart, TNT has the perfect cart for you. TNT carries and services leading brands and a full line of premium Mad Jacks accessories. Stop by or call to find out about our zero-down, low-interest rate financing, free delivery, and rental programs. Visit TNTSupercenter.com.
TNT. I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
And I still need to sell 20 new Nissans today. I'm telling you, the books on Nissan Corporate's 2017 absolutely close tonight, and that means mere hours remain for the lowest priced Nissans of the year. So listen up, $4,000 off MSRP on all 2018 Rogue S's and Sentra SVs, $5,000 off MSRP on all 2018 Altimas. That's right, $5,000 off all 2018 Altimas, and Kraft Nissan has over 50 in stock. $6,000 off MSRP on our remaining 2017 Maximas, $10,000 off MSRP on our remaining 2017 Titan pickups. And all, not some, 2018 Armadas are $10,000 off MSRP. It's Kraft Nissan's fiscal year end with Nissan Corporate. But you have to hurry. The books close tonight, so make us an offer. I'm going to make you a deal. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Must finance through MMEC. In-stock units only.
Wahoo Seafood Grill, Tallahassee's leader in fresh seafood, is located right behind the Best Western on North Monroe. Lunch specials start at $7.99. Be sure to try their award-winning house-made burger. Big lunch parties are also welcome. Wahoo Seafood Grill makes lunch specials a very affordable choice. Delivery is available and plenty of parking. Wahoo Seafood Grill, easy access from any part of town using I-10. Visit them online at wahooseafoodgrill.com or call them today at 850-629-4059.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Come watch professional tennis in your own backyard. The 19th annual Tallahassee Tennis Challenger, April 21st through the 28th at Forest Meadows Tennis Center. Rising stars and tour veterans battle for ATP points and a wild card draw into the French Open. Fun for the whole family. Kids 10 and under, admitted free. For more information, go to TallahasseeChallenger.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. A college basketball champion will be crowned tonight in San Antonio. Villanova and Michigan meet up in the national title game. Wildcats, a 6.5-point favorite, according to Westgate Superbook. That's the biggest favorite in a national championship game in 6 years. NBA Celtics forward Gordon Hayward has begun light on-court jogging in the latest step in his recovery from a fractured ankle. Coach Brad Stevens stressed today, though, that Hayward is still a long, long way from basketball activities and reaffirmed he is not playing this season, but Stevens acknowledged that jogging is an encouraging step forward for Hayward. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, former UCLA football coach Jim Mora stood by his opinion that USC quarterback Sam Darnold is a better fit for the Browns and one than Bruins QB Josh Rosen. He added he believes Rosen is the number one quarterback in the draft and a franchise changer. Mora described Rosen as a millennial who can get bored easily if he's not challenged intellectually. Baseball, Yankees home opener versus the Rays, postponed by snow, rescheduled for 4:05 Eastern tomorrow. New York skipper Aaron Boone said he still plans to stick with lefty Jordan Montgomery. Tampa Bay will counter with Chris Archer. NHL, Blues forward Scotty Upshall out indefinitely with a lacerated kidney. Another injury for St. Louis to deal with as it fights for a playoff spot in the Western Conference.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. I mentioned to you, Tom, as we get set for Masters Week, the Houston Open, and Ian Poulter, who I mentioned at the outset, hit a 20-foot putt on the 18th hole that had been birdied 7 times total for the week. The 20-foot putt was to force a playoff. Poulter basically went into that tournament, or the thought was needing to win the tournament to get into the Masters. He is putting from 20 feet. Beau Hossler, looking for his first win, had just burned the edge on a putt longer, and he even raised the putter when it burned the edge, thinking he had concluded festivities. It doesn't go. He's left with a tap-in. Poulter has to hit the 20-footer to keep things alive. Does, looks at him, gave him the 3 to the chest, and everybody there knew this is over. And it was. They went to extra holes, and Poulter won. Hossler looked as despondent as I wanted to give him a hug. I'm like, oh, sir.
Perhaps the Ryder Cup is never going to be something that your heart or stomach is suited for, sir.
I mean, he shot a 67, had 4 straight birdies on the back nine to take a one-shot lead going into the final hole, and Ian Poulter's like, nay, nay.
Now, this is probably where you're going. Maybe it isn't. We should maybe do prep on this.
That's
but
okay.
Are you going to talk about the circumstances for Poulter and the Masters and what happened before this week? Because that's a hell of a story.
Well, he was mistakenly told he had locked up a spot.
Yeah, a reporter told Ian Poulter he was in. He goes, is that right? Really? And the reporter said, yep, you're in. And the reporter was wrong.
It's so cold-hearted. Yeah, no, he wasn't in. He wasn't in at all. And I love that Poulter was like, well, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then he's asked about it later, and apparently he was good because he can be a little bit rough.
Oh, he can be testy. He can be rough around the edges.
So that's the last time I'm going to listen to a reporter, though. I'm going to go find out for myself. And it all worked out, though. Everybody's A-okay.
Go watch the putt. It's ridiculous. It's not an easy putt. It's a very tough putt, and he's center of the cup. That's to keep hope alive, if you will. I mean, and it's 20 feet. Drills it. The only guy that makes putts like that when it's all on the line is Tiger Woods back in the day. I mean, just time and again, 15 foot, 19 feet, 25 feet, that's it. That guy does that. He must sit around thinking, if I was remotely consistent in the other aspects of the game, I'd have no problem closing out tournaments with the putter. I mean, forevermore. Nope, I can't think of anybody. Sergio does it in Ryder Cup too.
Oh, sure.
But not like that. That is different.
But we got to see a great moment in Ryder Cup history with, obviously, Rory hitting a bomb and then Reed hitting a shorter putt. But wagging the finger. But people go through stretches like that. I mean, I could think of, to be a golf nerd, Justin Leonard did it one weekend for the Open Championship where he made everything under the sun. Well, that was his calling card, is he could make putts. He couldn't do much else, but just get me to the flat surface and I'll do what I can. Graham McDowell was really good at it. But that's what this week is going to all be about. up with the Masters is who's going to be most consistent from, you know, any different number of ranges. And for Jordan Spieth, who played well this weekend, the number one concern is going to be 3 to 6 feet, because that has been his issue, is the shorter putts.
He keeps pushing those too.
And Augusta, they'll penalize you with a putt that's longer coming back the other way if you miss it from 3 to 6 feet.
I would not. First of all, I'm not a very good golfer, so let's just get that out of the way. Secondly, I would not fare well even if I was at Augusta, because I can't summon the courage. There's no other way to say it. It makes me angry. I can't summon the courage to blow the ball past the hole sufficient enough to take certain breaks out of the original putt that I need to. And not armed with the knowledge that if it doesn't go in, I've got a 15-footer coming back. I mean, that's brutal.
Well, it's a different animal.
Much different animal.
I mean, not even just, you know, for us, but for the pros.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. You see it.
You have to play defense in a lot of ways.
Well, you see certain guys in this event play, for lack of a better term, scared, but they're not scared, but they are playing defensively.
Well, you're aggressive to your part of the green that you're trying to hit. So if you put them in quadrants, right? You know, so you have 4 quadrants, and it's like a clock face: 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12. If you miss to the wrong side, then you have to play defense. But you're going to be aggressive to your quadrant. If you hit it there, then you have the putt with the break and the slope that you want it to.
Yeah.
But if you miss, you best not try and make that putt from the wrong quadrant, because if you miss that putt, you're 3-putting, and that's the end of it.
As evidenced by the stellar play upon his return, look at the shakeup according to Vegas. You could have gotten Tiger Woods weeks ago somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 1 or more. It's now 10 to 1. Jordan Spieth, 10 to 1. Justin Thomas, who's been better than both those guys by a long shot, is 10 to 1. Tiger's the same as Justin Thomas. That's insane. Now, that's Vegas taking advantage of the betting public. There's no way, I don't think, that I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. Tiger's a special player, but it's crazy to me that Tiger Woods has better odds to win the Masters than Dustin Johnson. Come on.
Right. Well,
come on.
Horses for courses, right? And it's never really matched Dustin's game. We all wanted to see it last year because he seemed to be at the height of his talents. And this is a chance for him to get some sort of redemption. But for Tiger, this is a place that's always fit him.
Right now, I'll just say this, and it's pretty amazing. Tee to green. I looked it up last night. Most shots gained by any player in the field from tee to green, Sergio Garcia. If he makes putts, he's going to win again. He doesn't, though. He doesn't. You can't count on it.
Yeah.
And he hasn't putted well so far this year.
Well,
so
there's so many ways to go with this Masters, though. I mean, really, we could do a Masters special, but for time we could. Yes, I get it. Ira's coming up next. And you reset.
We'll go to football.
Everybody
Everybody can, yeah.
But what Tiger, the two things that he has really going in his favor, actually 3. Number 1 is the knowledge of the course and the comfort level on the course. And we always know that in his career, when he's going well, Tiger plays well at certain places, and you could just book it. That's going to happen.
Sure, Bay Hill.
Number 2, his putting does seem to be up to, his standard, which is the medium range par putts, the medium range birdie putts inside of 10 feet. He's going to get more than his fair share. So he'll gain shots on the field there. Number 3, and I think this is the one that's the most important if you're trying to make up scoring on par 5s, which has been a problem of his in recent years.
Odd. Well, in this comeback, it's been really odd.
What we saw at Bay Hill and what we've seen in patches is that his ball flight, again, long shots, long irons, is so much softer and higher than most other players that it will receive on the green better. It's not going to bounce and release to the back. I think his control allows for him to make up some shots at 13 and 15 on the back 9 at Augusta this weekend.
Tiger Woods, better odds to win the Masters than Justin Rose, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, last year's champion Sergio Garcia, John Rahm, Paul Casey. Come on now.
The Justin Rose one is actually pretty offensive.
It is.
Rose has been playing brilliantly.
Well, yes, Jason Day has played brilliantly so far this year,
and Bubba one too. That doesn't make much sense.
They're taking advantage of the public. I could see really what I think Vegas is doing there, and Big Daddy Jay has made his way into the studio here. Really, what's going on is they're telling you that Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas are the favorites to win the Masters. we're going to throw in some Tiger Woods action because we know a bunch of suckers going to race over there and bet Tiger Woods. That's not to say
they couldn't be right
that Tiger Woods can't win it because he's certainly in the conversation. But if we're doing these odds based on consistency, depth of talent, and what we've seen so far this year, then Justin Thomas should be a more odds-on favorite to win this tournament than Tiger Woods.
Do you want to make a Phil v. Tiger bet?
No, but I'll take Tommy Fleetwood to outshine both of them. As a bold endeavor.
As a bold endeavor.
That's fairly
He's got to beat both of them, though. That's the bold endeavor.
Yeah, the bold endeavor is that Tommy Fleetwood will place higher than both Phil and Tiger. Will you take that?
I take that.
All right, I'll put that up there. That's my bold endeavor. I got Tommy Fleetwood on the outside. Who's your outside guy? Henrik Stenson?
Alex Noren.
Okay, Alex Noren, who I like a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Nicely done. All right, well, then we got to be reciprocal here. You've got to have Alex Noren outshine Phil and Tiger.
As my bold endeavor.
Both, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there we go. Let's get it on.
All right.
IrrationalWarChant.com up next.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Smoother, bolder, sharper, comfier, smarter, fiercer, tougher, stronger, longer, greater, prouder. Gravely Zero Turn Mowers.
Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
Tired of your normal 2-piece kit? Makita and Cornerstone are back together with a better-than-ever offer. Purchase a Makita brushless premium hammer drill and impact kit and receive your choice of a free bare tool, plus a free 6-amp-hour battery. That's a total of 3 batteries, a $150 value. Not to mention, buy any 3 Makita brushless tools and get a free starter kit, 1 tool bag, 2 5-amp-hour batteries, and 1 dual bay charger. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave or 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. A college basketball champion will be crowned tonight in San Antonio. Villanova and Michigan meet up in the national title game. Wildcats, a 6.5-point favorite, according to Westgate Superbook. That's the biggest favorite in a national championship game in 6 years. NBA Celtics forward Gordon Hayward has begun light on-court jogging in the latest step in his recovery from a fractured ankle. Coach Brad Stevens stressed today, though, that Hayward is still a long, long way from basketball activities and reaffirmed he is not playing this season, but Stevens acknowledged that jogging is an encouraging step forward for Hayward. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, former UCLA football coach Jim Mora stood by his opinion that USC quarterback Sam Darnold is a better fit for the Browns and one than Bruins QB Josh Rosen. He added he believes Rosen is the number one quarterback in the draft and a franchise changer. Mora described Rosen as a millennial who can get bored easily if he's not challenged intellectually. Baseball, Yankees home opener versus the Rays, postponed by snow, rescheduled for 4:05 Eastern tomorrow. New York skipper Aaron Boone said he still plans to stick with lefty Jordan Montgomery. Tampa Bay will counter with Chris Archer. NHL Blues forward Scotty Upshall out indefinitely with a lacerated kidney. Another injury for St. Louis to deal with as it fights for a playoff spot in the Western Conference.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Good day. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. By the way, if you missed portions of the program, go back, get caught up at your leisure. All 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Email the show if you like. It's JCS at 979, ESPNRadio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameron Show. WTSM app for your mobile devices. Every Monday, we bring them in. Irashafel, warchant.com, the website today. No different. Good morning, sir. I'm not going to lie and tell everybody it's the afternoon. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
You're good. I'm good, man. You're on your way to practice, right?
I am indeed. Another fun day of practice.
There you go. Well, first of all, they scrimmage, and you guys will learn more about that today, I would guess. But nothing to be gleaned just yet from that scrimmage?
Yeah, I mean, it just, from the sounds of things, it sounds like the defense played really well. And the offense, Willie Taggart has said from day one that it's going to take a little time with the offense, that you'll see, big plays here or there, but that in terms of getting the everything down in terms of the tempo and getting guys clean, it's going to take some time. And that's the case any year with any offense. I mean, defense is always going to dominate early, but I think it's particularly the case right now because, again, you've got, so many guys learning so many things and then trying to do it at a fast tempo. It sounds like DeAndre Francois didn't do anything really during the scrimmage. They kind of limited to Blackman and Hockman. And again, I think you're seeing some big plays here or there, but for the most part, the defense is kind of handling things.
Yeah, and for those that are wondering, Ira's exactly right. This in the spring, typically speaking, no matter what you're running, the defense is way ahead of the offense. So it's not surprising. It's actually kind of it's good to hear that. I would be seriously concerned if the offense was ahead of the defense at this point. It ought not be that way. Speaking of which, well, a couple things. First, there were a ton of visitors this weekend, and I can't help but raise an eyebrow in noticing that I think there were 15 kids here. We're doing things a lot different than we used to do things here at Florida State. This is a philosophy change. Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. The recruiting side of it is it's almost like they're using spring football, not just as spring football for the team, but also as a kind of a sales pitch for recruiting. And, under Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Bowden, like they would always have, you'd have a few guys come through in the spring, but you just wouldn't see this many numbers. And the amount of attention that the coaches are spending with these guys. Some of these guys that came for junior day, the evolution of recruiting this time of year was, about 5-6 years ago, they started doing these junior days where these high school juniors, guys who are going to be rising seniors, would come to campus for a couple days. They would block out a couple days, bring them in, give them the whole spiel, and then that would be really the big opportunity. And if they wanted to stop by a spring practice, that was one thing. Well, a lot of these guys came for junior day and then came back this weekend or this past week for visits. Some of them brought their parents, their families, and the coaches are taking, including Willie Taggart, is taking a lot of time with these guys. And, there's a trade-off there. I think Jimbo Fisher's philosophy was when it's football time, it's football time. When it's recruiting time, it's recruiting time. But they're really kind of burning the candle at both ends. They're trying to do both. And I don't know if that's what they're going to do forever or if they're still in this kind of makeup period where they're trying to make up ground with, players for 2019. That was one thing I had heard when the staff came in and they kind of saved what they could of the 2018 class. A couple of people close to the program told me, people think we're back to even with everybody else. We're really not. We're still 6 months behind on 2019. So I don't know if this is what they're always going to do or if this is a catch-up maneuver, but they are really killing it on the recruiting end as well as coaching spring football.
Yeah, it sounds odd, but I'm noticing it on Twitter. Like every hour, every other hour, there's a kid tweeting out a picture of himself and how excited he is about Florida State or the potential to go to Florida State. And it got on my radar that way, and that I was seeing so many kids. I'm not, that doesn't normally happen. And so I had to figure that something was going on that was different. And we know they're going to recruit, right? So this does not surprise, I don't suppose, that they're going about it a little bit different, making that effort to catch up and having some success. Speaking of which, I know you've got a story coming out on warchant.com. The defensive backs are is a group, as a segment, is a group that we're all excited about. And you talk about a lot of young guys like Samuels and Nasruddin and guys like that, Fagan. But this is a really talented group who, by all accounts, are shining right now in practice.
Yeah, I think so. You watch the portions of practice we're able to watch and then things you hear about later. I just think that, some of the flashes of talent that we saw last year, that secondary was very deep and experienced last year, and they've gotten younger pretty quickly. I mean, you think about you lost, Ermin Lane and Nate Andrews and Derwin James and Tavares McFadden, and they had a bunch of upperclassmen. So now these guys who have been kind of shining in secondary roles, no pun intended, now are kind of stepping to the forefront. And I think, Cyrus Fagan's a guy who we just hear a lot about. People just say he's always around the ball. He's one of those guys that's just always around the ball no matter what happens. Nasruddin, we certainly saw when he got on the field last year and started some as a true freshman. And then, Stanford Samuels and Levante Taylor at the corners. Again, you're kind of looking at, it's basically like sophomores and maybe one junior across the board. So they're pretty young, and they don't have a lot of depth at corner. The only concern I have really at the secondary right now is they're pretty thin at corner with Carlos Becker. He's been out. He had off-season surgery. You got Kyle Myers backing up one corner, and then I think a walk-on backing up the other. They've got some other guys coming in this summer, but the safeties are I think, are going to be tremendous. And the starters, Levante Taylor and Stanford Samuels, I think, are playing really well. It's just they don't have a ton of depth at corner right now.
And I guess it would make some sense, given the new defensive coordinator is Harlan Barnett, who was a outstanding player in his own right and a guy that would come up and hit you. Kids want to impress a guy like that.
Oh, there's no doubt. And, the players, at every position, but especially, at every position, the players are, when you talk to them, they're trying to be respectful of the former class and not trying to make comparisons and all this is why we like these guys and we didn't like the previous guys. But, there's little kind of subtle things. And, a few of them have mentioned the fact that, they've seen footage of Harlan Barnett play. They've seen clips on Twitter, and they've seen some of the hits he delivered and things like that. And it means a lot. I think, Hamson Nasruddin said the other day, look, it's these are guys, these coaches are guys that did what we're doing. And we want to kind of play to their level, and that's why they're coaching us the way they are. And they can see where they can get. If I do what this guy tells me, I can get to that level. And, I think they get a kick out of, they said that Barnett's not showing them his footage, but they've certainly found some of it on the internet, and I think they're enjoying that.
Yeah, he was largely known as a headhunter. He did things back in the day that you're not allowed to do in today's NFL or today's college football.
Yeah, that would be the problem. You can't emulate him too much.
Yeah, I was going to say, nowadays you get thrown out on the regular. But it is cool that they have a coach they can look up to in that way and obviously seek to impress. Speaking of which, the coaching staff as a whole, I'm kind of curious. You guys haven't been able really to talk to assistants, and I don't want to poke the bear there, Ira. But I got to assume that when you talk to the kids, they reveal some things about the differences and how things have changed. Some of the veteran players able to compare and contrast. What are you hearing that stands out most?
I think the couple things are, there's a lot of teaching and there's a lot of energy, and it's a lot of positive energy right now. One thing, just standing around the practice field, you can kind of tell that the teaching is different. And again, it's not to say one way is better or worse. If you listen to the reports out of Texas A&M, it sounds like that program was hungry for more of a kind of a hard edge, which is what Jimbo Fisher brings. And I think this program was hungry for a different approach, and I think they're getting it with these guys. But I think the coolest thing is that there really is a clean slate for so many players, and guys that maybe you didn't know if they could, how they would fit in with the former staff. They just hadn't really had their chance yet. Some of those guys are flourishing, like a couple. And part of it's because they've got a couple injuries at center, but Corey Martinez, a fifth-year guy, is playing first-team center all spring, and I've heard he's done a good job. DeKalen Brooks, Derek Brooks' son, is a guy who didn't play at all last year. He redshirted. I think he was dealing with some injuries, but from everything we've seen, he's running with the first team at linebacker. He's a guy that some people in recruiting weren't sure if he was a guy Florida State was taking because he's Derek Brooks' son, or if he really was that talented. But I think they're very impressed with what he's done. So I think that's one cool thing is you're seeing it's not all – everything's not just, this was the depth chart last year, so this guy's going to slide up here, that guy's going to slide up there. I do think you're seeing some new faces emerge at different positions.
Competition's key. Always appreciated, brother. Have a great week. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Jeff. I think you're going to have a better week, buddy, but enjoy it.
I will, man. I will. Thanks. That's Ira Schoffel, warchant.com. Yeah, I'm hoping to have a glorious week. By the way, I just get giddy with the idea of Derek Brooks' kid moving up the depth chart. How you and I both want that a lot. Not necessarily, obviously, excluding the other kids and their opportunities to compete. It's just, come on.
Yeah, what it makes me think of, and this is the nerd and the kid in me when Derek was at the height of his power at the pro level, was I think it was Madden 04. It was the Vic year.
Right. And you could just spy with
Vic
Derek.
was unstoppable.
Like in real life.
Yes, but if you hit audible, which would take him off of his assignment, and I put him in spy, right? And I'm playing online.
Yeah.
The computer would play the sound, sideline to sideline, sideline to sideline. And so I'd talk junk down the line to the other person, like, you're damn right, sideline to sideline. Here comes the sideline to sideline. Hopefully that's what DeKalen brings to the table, too.
Well, what's funny about it is the descriptors. So here's the thing about, and I was here for Derek Brooks' career, right? And undersized is what you heard. Now fast, great instincts, despite being not overly big, he could hit you. Had a little what for to him, right? Quiet and perseverance. All of it was in play. And then you watched him play. He played so much bigger than he looked. Now he had those huge shoulder pads. It always cracks me up. But just made plays, right? And I'm not saying it defied logic, but when you saw him take on a running back in the hole, or you saw him make a play against a guy that was frankly outweighing him by 10 to 15 pounds, you knew that he was one of those guys. There are guys in football who can just hit. They can. And, his running mate with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, John Lynch, could just hit. And I remember one time Lynch was asked about that because he was 205 pounds. What is it about? He talked about the ability to kind of from the ground up, to feel that come through. He delivered shots from the bottom of his feet, up through his legs, and out through his shoulders. And he talked about the ability to find that. And he got into some hocus-pocus stuff that was interesting. But whatever he needed to do, he could do. Your hard hitters, that's the way they were. That's the way they are. They're guys that can just hit. And it's crazy because it can come in a lot of different body types. It's not always the huge guy. And Derek Brooks could do that. If his son's like him, then it's not surprising to hear that despite not necessarily being a guy that is prototypical, he's here turning heads, getting a chance, making plays.
Well, yeah, if obviously there has to be genetics to it, right? But
Yeah.
if there is wisdom to be gained, I'm sure that Derek imparts it to his son about leverage and whatever tricks he may have used,
right,
to make it all work, to get the most out of his height and weight. Yeah, I'm sure that's in there. The offensive line thing, okay, we'll see what Mr. Martinez is. We're going to have to redefine everything. I get it. Ira is
Yeah.
absolutely right. This
Yeah.
isn't about just sliding up the depth chart from last year under Jimbo. The offense is different, so they're looking for different things. And maybe, just maybe, we're not asking the center to be half God in order to be able to make this whole thing work.
By the way, it's so funny you bring it up. From the day the coaching change happened to where we are right now having this conversation, I can't tell you how many times I've thought, boy, our centers are going to be so damn happy not to have to be all things to all people and really the crux of the entirety of this offense as to whether or not it works. Like, they might be asked to do less than superhuman things. Yeah.
All right. A 1980s NBA offense or Jimbo's offense, which relies on the center more?
Yeah, it feels that way, right? I mean, it was, you'd watch those reach blocks they were asking those guys to make, and you'd think, well, I mean, good luck. We had some guys who could do it, fortunately.
Yeah, Stork was...
well, he was special.
Yes.
And if he hadn't got beat to hell, he would have been fine. I mean, in the NFL, he was great right when he came up.
He was fine, yep,
right off the bat. It's just, unfortunately, concussions. By the way, he mentioned the DBs. We'll see. I mean, we got glimpses already, but Hamza, that's a special-looking athlete.
Athletically, yes.
Well, he's got to learn, but it's 6'4", 215 pounds. It's absurd for a guy in the secondary. Cyrus Fagan, he mentioned Cyrus Fagan, 6'1", 200 pounds. That's a big secondary, big corners. I mean, obviously, you have exceptions.
Woodby's not small either.
No, Woodby's huge. As a true freshman?
Yeah, the whole thing about Hamza, and again, you got to redefine everything and reevaluate from scratch, and that's going to be the fun part of the spring game is you actually can, kind of look at this thing for more than a day and say, well, here's where they are. We know what they're being asked to do. No, we really don't. I mean, the defense may be a 4-2-5, just like what Kelly was running, and it may be derivation of what Saban does, but still, we might be asking players to key on different things. So it's going to be interesting to figure out. But last year, Hamza in coverage. Ooh, I mean, I get he's a freshman, but it needed a lot of work. So we'll see what he's asked to do.
See what he's asked to do. And I'm going to trust that Harlan Burnett's going to look at that guy and go, oh, we got something here.
He's also
I'm gonna
a
put you in a
freshman.
position. Yeah. Why? So many people. The hardest part about comparing and contrasting, and I'm not even talking about coaching styles or philosophy or strategy or concepts. I'm talking about the transformation of players who straight up lost confidence as the year went on, and the successes certainly were far fewer than the failures. And we saw game in and game out. It's hard to judge, especially with the younger players on this roster who were asked to play, what losing did to them, what those moments where they were exposed, they were burned, they were made to feel foolish.
Well,
what does that do? Confidence is everything for an athlete.
Well, and then there's also the instinct to go make up for your partner, for your segment mate, for your teammate, because you're trying to do something to will us to win. And it comes from, that's where I think Jimbo was telling the truth, which is these kids want it so much that they try to do too much instead of do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
well,
he's right about that.
As you get into late, I'm not talking about, are they prepared to do it? What I'm saying is the natural thing is at some point, if we're losing, no matter what I do, and I'm doing the right things, well, then I need to do extra. I need to do something more than just what I'm tasked with.
Yeah.
And that's where you get people out of position, and the whole thing, it turns into a situation where kids might shut down on you, which I think is something we saw last year too.
Just a bit. And now we're getting all their best efforts trying to impress new coaches, including coaches that they've seen on film kicking ass and taking names, at least on the defensive side of the football. And it shouldn't be overlooked that when Willie Taggart stopped playing college football, he was the all-time leading rusher at quarterback at his division, right? I mean, so there, you got players on offense, too, noting that there have been plenty of talented individuals playing the game that are now coaching them that succeeded at a high level. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Landowners, your Mahindra dealer is ready to help you save during Mahindra's Red Tag sale. Enjoy up to $7,900 in tractor cash back and savings, or utility vehicle savings up to $1,700. Plus, Mahindra's industry-leading warranties still come standard. So hurry in for Mahindra's Red Tag savings.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Like and trust and get the honest, friendly service you deserve. That's why our customers will tell you there's no better car buying experience in town. Visit us today at 1850 Capitol Circle Northeast or online at DaleJr.BuickGMC.com. And remember, you too can be a Hendrick driver.
We're here in this new neighborhood to talk about the American dream. Looking good, boys. A dream that Navy Federal Credit Union wants to help you celebrate with a mortgage that you won't lose sleep over. Navy Federal offers 100% financing, no private mortgage insurance, and even no money down on a variety of conventional and VA loans. So start living your dream today. Subject to approval, 100% financing loans include an additional funding fee. Visit NavyFederal.org for more information. Open to the Armed Forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Shot, save, rebound, score!
The playoffs are here. The Corner Pocket is your home all spring long for all the heart-pounding moments in the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's held in a shot, save, rebound,
The Corner Pocket on Appalachia Parkway next to Earth Fair is your headquarters for Trivia Tuesdays, Beer Bingo Thursdays, and of course, all the moments you'll never forget.
For the championship!
The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
At Advance Auto Parts, we offer you the quality parts you want and knowledge you need to help get you back on the road. And we're always looking for ways to help you save. Right now, get CarQuest conventional motor oil for just $2.96 a quart. Talk about an amazing price. Plus, find great prices on CarQuest's full line of motor oil. Go to Advance or participating CarQuest Auto Parts stores to take advantage of this great offer while it lasts. Advance Auto Parts, where oil is priced like it should be.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and Nissan's fiscal year-end super sale ends today, and I still need to sell 20 new Nissans today. I'm telling you, the books on Nissan Corporates 2017 absolutely close tonight, and that means mere hours remain for the lowest priced Nissans of the year. So listen up, $4,000 off MSRP on all 2018 Rogue S's and Sentra SVs, $5,000 off MSRP on all 2018 Altimas. That's right, $5,000 off all 2018 Altimas, and Kraft Nissan has over 50 in stock. $6,000 off MSRP on our remaining 2017 Maximus, $10,000 off MSRP on our remaining 2017 Titan pickups, and all, not some, 2018 Armadas are $10,000 off MSRP.
20 seconds.
That's good.
Go-getters, get 2 with Dunkin' Go-Tos.
Oh, that is good.
2 sandwiches for $2, $3, or
Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. I can still remember Todd Marinovich at Southern Cal. Remember the Sports Illustrated story about his father being a lunatic? How it was that he was not able to eat McDonald's or anything bad for you in the late 80s so that he could become a quarterback. His dad had decided that was his destiny. It did work out, actually. He did become a quarterback, and a good one at USC, and then he was drafted by the Raiders when they were in Los Angeles. But it all fell to pieces. He was only there a couple of years. He ends up in Winnipeg with the Blue Bombers, then the BC Lions, and basically then he's out of Canadian football, and he's in jail frequently. And there have been a lot of stories about this, and I remember thinking, well, this is the story of the overbearing parent who is trying to live vicariously through their son. And this is what happens. This is where the void in the relationship and the one-sidedness of everything leads to a guy, doing a whole bunch of drugs, searching for real love, right? Finding something to fill the emptiness with. And it sucks. I bring it up again because, do you remember I brought this up a while back? I don't know if you do. But Todd Marinovich had been arrested yet again and ended up going to a facility, and they wrote this long story about how he was thriving in this community. 19 months, I think he was out in Arizona, right? And then he ended up getting clean, and everything was going to be all right. Yeah, he was busted over the weekend. He's going back to jail. Parents, I'm not standing on the soapbox waving the finger, but man alive. And once again, our age difference, 86 is when you're born. So you only have kind of a, maybe just from this show, understanding of who Todd Marinovich is, right?
Marinovich to me is not the punchline because that's the wrong word. A cautionary tale example that I hear in broadcasting, sports media, that I don't fully understand. I get it, 30 for 30. I've seen most of it. They had a good story on it. But no, to me, this is something where if somebody talks about it, I go, oh, well, that's an old guy talking.
Well, I'm revealing myself then as an old guy.
You're always going to be 15 years older than me.
But
that's not going to
change. It's a quintessential story. I mean, he was thriving in this desert recovery community, and everybody thought it was going to work out. And now here he is busted again. He's back in jail after being arrested in Orange County last week. He got attention in September by playing for the Desert's developmental football team, the SoCal Coyotes.
Oh.
He was arrested in March, released after posting bail. He was arrested again in March, remains in custody. Man, he got arrested in March and then arrested again in March. March was a toughie.
So he was where Jesse Pinkman was.
Yes.
Like a rehab facility.
That's right.
Yeah, in the desert.
That's right.
Yeah.
So no further details have been given, but apparently it wasn't that long ago. Of course, he was found naked wandering. That was the last time I talked about him, was he was found naked wandering in a stranger's backyard with a paper bag full of syringes.
Well,
you
couldn't write that.
Well, no. But that's where he was, and he was sentenced to 90 days in jail, and then he did a long interview talking about what it was like to get clean and how much he needed to be arrested there and how it was good for him to go to this facility. And they did a big feature story on it. I mentioned it in passing. That's why I mentioned it again here briefly in a shorter segment, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. It's a heartbreaking story. It sucks. But, when you end up, and a lot of you guys out there listening to this know you've had kids that played sports and you've been a fan of sports all your life. You're listening to this show, that's likely true. We all see that guy, not the kid. I'm not talking about the drug-addled kid who's running from dad, but the dad. We all see that, man, and it just makes me mad, makes me sad. My kids are in youth sports now, and knock on wood, I haven't seen too much of it lately. You get the overbearing guy, but you can always tell who's a candidate for that. It is... They've done a good job, and I think they're doing this in all communities now, and I put a capper on it with this. If you go, and you'll find this out, Tom, in due time, but if you go to, let's just say, Little League baseball fields, all over town, not just any one particular place, signs are everywhere about how these are kids. That guy's not paid to umpire. These coaches are volunteers. This isn't Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, like signs that read that way, like, yo, everybody, it's cool. He missed it. He missed that call. Kid dropped that ball. It happens. Let's not freak out. But that's all the byproduct from the generation I grew up on sadly, is that fathers were crazy in the 80s, Tom.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Let's not all freak out. Yeah. Oh. Let's just give out participation trophies while we're at it, huh? Losers. Losers.
And I'm fine with not giving trophies, right? I mean, like, if you don't earn it, you don't get it. I'm okay with all that. But the screaming down of a 10-year-old.
How many times have you seen it so far?
What, father?
Overbearing. Well, it could be a mom, too.
I have yet to see.
Sometimes the moms can be overbearing.
I've seen teen moms be a little bit militant, but they're usually militant about who's bringing the food next week, who's got the juice boxes. So there's that.
You already had your juice box.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much beyond
One
that.
for everyone.
As far as seeing dads, there are a couple of dads here and there. It's hard though. I'll give you my own story. You want your kids to succeed. I don't. There's a difference between maybe you raise your voice in frustration, and it's born out of wanting to see your kid do well. I can always tell the difference between that reaction and the reaction of a parent living vicariously through a kid. So when in all sports, whether it's, in the sports my kids have been involved in so far, which is, soccer and baseball and flag football, they're so little, and all of that. Obviously I say that disparagingly.
My goodness.
Flag football sucks. But it does. Mm-hmm. It just does. It's boring to watch.
Give me concussions.
No, I'm not saying he should. No, I'm saying just when you go to watch it, you're like, Christy gets mad at me. When I go to the flag football games.
The flag football
That's right.
games.
When I go to the flag football games, I'm like, the results, I don't care. I'm just completely disinterested. And I'm invested in these baseball games. I'm invested in the soccer games. Flag football, I'm like, well, it is flag football. I mean, who really cares what's happening here? And she'll go, your kids can see you staring off into the trees. I'm like, I'm thinking about things. There's nothing to see here. This is just run around, Johnny. It'll be all right. It is just flag football.
Like what happens when I talk too much about hockey or golf on the show. I'm like, ooh, he's gone.
No.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well, I'm not gone. I'm thinking of the audience member.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of the audience member going, that's great, Tom. You love hockey. That's what I'm bringing you back.
Well, yeah.
I'm bringing
that's
you
like
back.
the opening segment today where I brought up Winnipeg. I was like, well, even though that's true, I probably should just leave Winnipeg out of it.
Leave Winnipeg out of it. I think people will raise an eyebrow and go, Winnipeg's good this year.
No, they'll be like, well, see, exactly. Winnipeg. Who the hell cares about Winnipeg?
That's right.
Tell me about Nashville.
I do think in baseball it probably happens more than any other sport until you get to high school football. But I think in baseball, because travel teams and all this, I'm talking about the overbearing dad that I haven't seen too much of it. I'll see the occasional, but getting back to having to check yourself, I like to lay back in the cut. I'm not, just you go. I don't want to yell.
Yeah.
But when your kid does something silly that they know better.
And you've gone over.
And we've gone over.
Yeah,
We've talked about it before. You are occasionally inclined to be like, to say something, to just say something where others can hear you, and then you realize how that sounds. I'm more guilty, not of that. I'm more guilty of being a helicopter dad. Hovering. I'm more guilty. I can catch.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, that's what that means.
Okay.
I'll straight hover. I'll hover around the dugout just to say something. Hover around out by the outfield.
Like, all right, man.
Yeah. So I catch myself. I don't say anything to coaches because they got great coaches, but I'll just, good job on that 2-2 pitch, Bryce.
Yeah.
And he's starting to give me the look.
Mm-hmm.
He's at that age. I'm starting to get the look like he'd prefer I just not be around. And I'm having to deal with that. That's tough. When your kid gives you the look of they're embarrassed, it's tough.
Well,
I'm your advocate.
Yeah, but he's around older kids now.
He is. He's the youngest kid on his team. So he is around older kids, and he is very cognizant of that, of the way they look over at him or me. If I come over, I'm trying to give dap for a good AB, no matter what happens. I'm just trying to come over and give it a little dap. He doesn't want it.
Hey, Timmy, I'm talking to my son.
Yeah.
What, do you want to arm wrestle over it? All right.
I should do that one day, and then he would be mortified for life, and I'd be banned from the premises.
His dad challenges people to arm wrestling matches.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Don't be Todd Marinovich's dad. You'll end up in the desert, hopped up on goofballs for the 50th time.
Why does Mahindra have 97% satisfaction? Ask our owners.
This gives me the ability to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
I decided on Mahindra just because of the sheer strength, the size, the ease of the workability, and it was more of a comfortable machine than the others.
You could lift just about anything with that thing. It has never let me down.
And now get the industry's best 7-year limited powertrain warranty on select models.
TNT.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Doing laundry with Easy Laundry Service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's Easy Laundry Service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Landowners, your Mahindra dealer is ready to give you special savings on the toughest tractors and utility vehicles on earth during the Mahindra Red Tag Sale. Hurry in for up to $7,900 in cash back and Red Tag savings. Only from Mahindra.
For more information and to view TNT's huge Mahindra inventory, go to TNTSuperCenter.com.
Offer with approved credit. See dealer for details. Program restrictions may apply.
The cut is sharper. The stance is bolder. The rider is comfier. The frame is stronger. The controls are smarter. The handling is smoother. When it comes to professional grade performance, no mower is greater than a Gravely Zero Turn. Be more than just a mower. Be prouder. Be greater. Be a Gravely owner. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
With over 150 of them in stock, the Gravely Zero Turns start at just $28.99. Go to TNTSuperCenter.com for current inventory and pricing.
Are you wanting to raise some extra cash fast? Think Thrifty Nickel. Need to clean out that garage full of stuff you never use? Think Thrifty Nickel. Need a newer car or truck and don't want to break the bank? Think Thrifty Nickel. Buying or selling, your best bet is Thrifty Nickel. All ads appear in print and online for maximum results. Place your ad today and ask for their guaranteed results special. Call 385-0505. Get your free copy of American Classifieds, available at hundreds of locations throughout the greater Tallahassee area.
Looking for today's hottest wellness trends? Visit GNC, where you'll get them for less thanks to our buy one, get one half off deal. Save on black seed oil, turmeric, and milk thistle. Or mix and match VitaPack programs, male performance, probiotics, fish oil, and more. Our premium GNC brand products go through up to 150 quality checks and are the highest quality wellness solutions and supplements in the industry. But hurry, this buy one, get one half off deal is only available for a limited time. GNC, live well.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
I have known for some time now that some insurance companies are not exactly being truthful with their customers, stating such things as if you do not use one of their approved body shops, they will not guarantee the repairs, or it may cost you more out of pocket. Here at Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, the work we do is guaranteed for as long as you own your vehicle. Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, 385-2665.
License number MV46050.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. A college basketball champion will be crowned tonight in San Antonio. Villanova and Michigan meet up in the national title game. Wildcats, a 6.5-point favorite, according to Westgate Superbook. That's the biggest favorite in a national championship game in 6 years. NBA Celtics forward Gordon Hayward has begun light on-court jogging in the latest step in his recovery from a fractured ankle. Coach Brad Stevens stressed today, though, that Hayward is still a long, long way from basketball activities and reaffirmed he is not playing this season, but
Can you line up to 5 o'clock, make sure the hour agrees? What are we doing here? Sports Center's running. Oh, my bad.
QB Josh Rosen. He added he believes Rosen is the number one quarterback in the draft and a franchise changer. Mora described Rosen as a millennial who can get bored easily if he's not challenged intellectually. Baseball, Yankees home opener versus the Rays, postponed by snow, rescheduled for 4:05 Eastern tomorrow. New York skipper Aaron Boone said he still plans to stick with lefty Jordan Montgomery. Tampa Bay will counter with Chris Archer. NHL Blues forward Scotty Upshall out indefinitely with a lacerated kidney. Another injury for St. Louis to deal with as it fights for a playoff spot in the Western Conference.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Going on, it seems almost wrong of me to continually circle back to the NFL draft. We will have a draft party. We'll do it up like we do every year. It's always fun. We'll do it again, and the Bucs are going to disappoint me, and then I'm going to piss off Florida State fans everywhere as I say, I don't want Derwin James, but more and more I read that we're going to draft Derwin James. No. I love Derwin James. I don't want Derwin James. I really like Derwin James. I had quality conversations with Derwin James. It would temporarily warm the heart to see another Nole out there donning the Buccaneers logo. Don't want Derwin James.
Well, could I at least put your mind at ease by saying we did not get the most out of him with the defensive staff we had, and so therefore you might be getting a better player than you thought?
Without question. And I think that's absolutely true and fair and is the one point to make here in which I'd say, okay, you could be wrong, Jeff, because we do know he's a physical freak. He is that, and he loves football, and he will hit you, and he is athletically gifted in a way that translates to the league without question. All of those things are true, and they are important. There were some issues about instinct that I had in his time here, but I do think you're right. I think he was trying to overcome some issues on that defense and with his fellow teammates and coaching that I think frequently saw him doing the classic trying to do too much. And so, right, in that sense, maybe indeed it would be a fine pick because he's going to get good coaching in the league, and obviously Mike Smith will know what to do with him.
Well, and maybe the next time we talk to Charlie, that's a question. You know, because scouts will talk openly, honestly, bluntly about college staffs. They'll say, well, I don't know what the hell they were doing here with this guy. This makes no sense. I wonder if they look at the film of Derwin, and if you listen or read Pro Football Focus, it says that Derwin graded out as one of the best safeties in the country last year. But it was just hard to tell if you were, following the football and seeing what our defense was or was not doing. He didn't make enough splash plays. As sexy of an athlete as he is and as great of a talent as he is, you didn't see him in the middle of the action. So it's hard to know what the hell we asked of him, and if we put him in the wrong spots. There's just so much to unpack. Whereas with a Minkah Fitzpatrick or your guy,
Right.
Quentin Nelson, there's not much to unpack at all. You know exactly what they're capable of.
Well, and obviously, I've said it here. I want Quentin Nelson more than I want anybody else. The draft, if you look big picture here, obviously, if you got either Derwin James or Minkah Fitzpatrick, you are addressing a major need with the Bucs defense. And paired with Evans, this is very, very good. And I'm not saying I've been more devastated by selections. Let's put it that way. Josh Freeman. But this would be still disappointing to me in that it means we haven't addressed our need at defensive end, which I assume they would do later in the draft. I'm also not in love with the draft from that position standpoint.
Not top 40 with our 2 picks. No.
And it would mean still that, I'd have grave concerns about our offensive line. And you have what I think is not necessarily a transcendent player, but is a unique talent on the offensive line that is universally lauded as, barring injury, a 10-year starter in the league, bare minimum, Pro Bowl type player. He can play tackle. He can play guard. You pencil him in the starting lineup opening day. It's a baseball reference, but you can do this in the NFL. That's your guy. You draft him. He's starting this year, making a major impact right now. There's no other concerns. I think that you really, anywhere else you look, you might have some concerns. Now, again, I question instinct. A lot of the scouting reports about Derwin James cite that as a strength. I think that's lazy. I don't think that's true. I think what is true is you're looking at an amazing collection. You're looking at a guy who has a collection of size and speed and length. He can be used as the 8th guy in the box. He can tackle, and he would do that. I have no doubts he'll do that at the NFL, and he'll be very productive. He's a good football player and would be a good starter. But I think if you have your choice between him or Minkah Fitzpatrick, that's a tough call. If Bradley Chubb is still there and those 2 gentlemen are there, which is a distinct possibility, do you go the other route and get your end? I'm not in love with Chubb, but I'm also not in love with anything we've had at defensive end for a long time.
Sure, and if you have JPP and Chubb together, I mean, now who do you double team? That's a nice problem to present. Given what the interior is with Gerald McCoy, that's a nice problem to present opposing defenses.
Without
There's
question.
no doubt. Yes.
Yeah. So there's that. And then, from there, I guess I would just tell you that if you can't block, you can't win, and it doesn't matter what anybody else is, any other part of the field. And that was a big to-do last year. We were so bad in the run game that it ended up getting Jameis hurt. And I feel like this is a very important year for this offense, a very important year for Jameis Winston in terms of reestablishing the upward trend of his career, where he was going. There's a misperception of the season he had a year ago amongst many, but I begin to wonder if maybe some of that has bled into the team and their view of Jameis Winston. I don't know that, but...
Well, you kept the old guard in there. That's the other thing. You don't want a quarterback to have to play under 7 offenses in his first 10 years in the league. So continuity is important. He's had just the one, but we're wondering about the one. Dirk, any day now. And morale wasn't exactly high last year when times got tough. What did Dirk do? Did he stand behind his player, or did he hang him out to dry?
No, hung him out to dry and then regretted it and then tried to kind of walk it back, but it was already out there, and it created the animosity that we all saw in those press conferences.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know that you can undo that.
Winning would.
That's right. Short of being successful on the field, taking a step forward together, winning, putting bygones behind, But that means that Dirk's going to have to stop coaching scared and trust the quarterback. The quarterback's going to have to trust the coach, and they're going to have to be better up front. And I think Quentin Nelson does all of that for you.
Agreed. For me, my money, I was looking at the 2nd-round pick this weekend because that's what we do. We draft geeks. We get involved in, who would be available at 37 or wherever it is we're picking. I think it's 37. Sony Michel is one to salivate over, and I don't know that he's going to make it that far. you just look at everything that he does, and admittedly, I'm looking at YouTube highlight reels, so they're the best plays.
I love that you went to YouTube and looked up those highlight reels.
But when they go on for 18 minutes, that means you've got a body of work to consider.
A little bit.
And the high end of what you're capable of doing, to me, at college, especially at a position like running back, tells me what you can do at the professional level. Because it doesn't matter that you ran for 300 yards against an FCS team. I don't care for those highlights. Against an Alabama, can you create an angle for yourself to get the corner? Can you cut back and then in one motion reach top speed? Because your guys didn't block it up as it was schemed, but you made a 6-yard gain out of nothing. It's what Dalvin was so good at. Sony is just an incredible body type and athlete that he looks like a receiver, but he's playing running back. That gives me a little bit of concern about giving him the rock 20 times a game. But he looks like a Christian McCaffrey type impact player, taller and stronger and more natural of an athlete. And that's not because of skin tone. Trust me. It's because of the skill set he brings to the table.
Michel's a really talented individual. I mean, we watched that, and I thought he looked like a surefire, can't-miss NFL prospect to be a 15 to 20 carry a game guy.
His top end may not be 4.3, but his burst is elite. 0 to 60, incredible, and his agility is awesome too. Most drafts have him around where the Bucs are picking in the second. I just don't know, man. That film is something else.
Well, and you can really see, it's funny, every year when you go back and look at the tape, the national championship game, the two teams competing either in the playoffs or the national championship, and go back position by position. Georgia's a great example. Isaiah Wynn's going to get drafted maybe late in the first, early second on the offensive line. You've got Roquan, who's a stud at linebacker. He's going to get drafted in the first round. You got a lot of Georgia guys, Alabama guys that comprise the first 40 picks in this draft.
Chubb, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, right? It does. Sony Michel, as you noted, if we look at where he's going to be, anywhere between 30 and 40 in the draft is right now projected almost all the way across the board. And Bucs draft 38th, by the way. The Colts,
okay.
Yeah, Harold Landry, by the way, projected to go early second, is also a guy that if you don't get a defensive end in that first round, if the Bucs are drafting at 38, you could go Harold. Let me ask you this. Since we're all fans of the SEC and the ACC and we watch a ton of football together, if you're a team, any team, I don't want to make this specific to the Bucs, although we are, would you want Harold Landry over Geis? So would you forego the running back for the end there if it was Harold Landry? Because I would.
Yeah, if Michel's off the board, but again, information is not perfect. But if you read what Charlie Campbell has to say on Walter Football, he thinks the Bucs would go so far as to trade up for Geis. And I just don't. Right. For a running back, period. But if you were going to, you do it for Sony Michel.
Quick projection here, by the way. I think Michel goes before Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb, yes.
Nick Chubb,
yes.
I think, he's going to go before Nick Chubb. They're both in that range.
I think if a team is making the right pick. Now, again, Nick is more of your every down player.
That's a bruising dude.
Yes, but in the age where you're trying to keep a running back around as a hybrid player, Michel is everything about what the NFL is now. It's about touches. You get a touch count, not a carry count. But yes, I would agree. But Nick Chubb has a lot of impressive moments too. Of course, Sony was the better one in the playoff against Oklahoma and Alabama, but Nick brings a lot to the table too. He's got some elite burst himself. That's an interesting debate, and I'm sure Georgia fans are having that in Athens Sports Talk Radio about who's going to be the better pro prospect. But when you see somebody who has that transcendent ability to set up a move before the safety knows what's happening to him, I would take a chance on that guy because that shows me a football intelligence that's through the roof.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I love him as a player, and if he's still there, then I would take him in that second round, and if we had Quentin Nelson in the first round, I'd go home after that. Quentin Nelson, Sony Michel, we're going home here. We are good to go.
There's only one round anyway on Thursday.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So you just go home after
Quentin Nelson, 7th pick. The Bucs take Quentin Nelson.
They started
Peace, everybody. We just won the draft. All of you have lost to us in the draft.
Enjoy the draft party, everybody.
Yeah. You guys got an inferior player to the one we got, no matter who you got. Have a good one. Unless you got Saquon Barkley, but he's a running back, and they're a dime a dozen. That's why we're getting ours in the second round. Sony Michel. See, I've already created scenarios by which we're going to celebrate the draft. That's not going to happen. We're not going to get either one of those guys.
We'll get Derwin and Darius Geis.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Smoother, bolder, sharper, comfier, smarter, fiercer, tougher, stronger, longer, greater, prouder. Gravely zero-turn mowers.
And use promo code WARCHANT30.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Oh no! My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to super lube my car, yes sir.
Looking for today's hottest wellness trends? Visit GNC, where you'll get them for less thanks to our buy one, get one half off deal. Save on black seed oil, turmeric, and milk thistle. Or mix and match VitaPack programs, male performance, probiotics, fish oil, and more. Our premium GNC brand products go through up to 150 quality checks and are the highest quality wellness solutions and supplements in the industry. But hurry, this buy one, get one half off deal is only available for a limited time. GNC, live well.
At Advance Auto Parts, we offer you the quality parts you want and knowledge you need to help get you back on the road. And we're always looking for ways to help you save. Right now, get CarQuest conventional motor oil for just $2.96 a quart. Talk about an amazing price. Plus, find great prices on CarQuest's full line of motor oil. Go to Advance or participating CarQuest Auto Parts stores to take advantage of this great offer while it lasts. Advance Auto Parts, where oil is priced like it should be.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's you, Jamie. Don't be alarmed, but I think there's a guy following you. Maybe we should get that guard dog we talked about? Nothing too scary. Maybe like a Bichon with an attitude? You know, Progressive's collision insurance covers injured dogs and cats at no extra cost, so... Wait, the guy stood up when I stood up. He's on the phone. He's looking right at me. Oh, wait, it's just my reflection. Don't tell anyone about this.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet coverage not available in New Hampshire and North Carolina.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. A college basketball champion will be crowned tonight in San Antonio. Villanova and Michigan meet up in the national title game. Wildcats, a 6.5-point favorite, according to Westgate Superbook. That's the biggest favorite in a national championship game in 6 years. NBA Celtics forward Gordon Hayward has begun light on-court jogging in the latest step in his recovery from a fractured ankle. Coach Brad Stevens stressed today, though, that Hayward is still a long, long way from basketball activities and reaffirmed he is not playing this season, but Stevens acknowledged that jogging is an encouraging step forward for Hayward. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, former UCLA football coach Jim Mora stood by his opinion that USC quarterback Sam Darnold is a better fit for the Browns and one than Bruins QB Josh Rosen. He added he believes Rosen is the number one quarterback in the draft and a franchise changer. Mora described Rosen as a millennial who can get bored easily if he's not challenged intellectually. Baseball, Yankees home opener versus the Rays, postponed by snow, rescheduled for 4:05 Eastern tomorrow. New York skipper Aaron Boone said he still plans to stick with lefty Jordan Montgomery. Tampa Bay will counter with Chris Archer. NHL Blues forward Scotty Upshall out indefinitely with a lacerated kidney. Another injury for St. Louis to deal with as it fights for a playoff spot in the Western Conference.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Miss anything, all 3 hours are going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Hope you had a good Easter. Hope you had a good weekend. Knowles took 2 of 3 from Louisville. That was nice, including a walk-off. We got our national championship game tonight in college basketball. I'm pumped about it. Villanova, Michigan. Yes, I'm like everybody else taking Villanova. That is an elite defensive team for Michigan, though. Could make that interesting. Sure hope so. The women's Final Four, rare you're ever going to hear me say this, was outstanding. Tom, yes, you may.
Is this going to be the full version?
Oh, you want a full right off the bat? Go ahead, because the listeners want it. Full version. Here you go. National champion Notre Dame, Muffet McGraw.
Two great teams. Opening tip to K-Mac. Takes it down the lane. Off the glass. Up and in. Notre Dame on top 2-0 off the set play. On the tip, and instead of passing it to Skyler, which they expected, she kept it and scored.
And the coach for your Fighting Irish.
Taking it down the floor. Pulls up. Jumper on the way. Good. We're tied at 4.
Muffet McGraw.
Right side. 10 on the shot clock. Diggins with a steal. Skyler Diggins with a steal. Trying to go end-to-end. Lays it up. Got it.
National champion Muffet McGraw, and overcoming injuries and deficits, they go on to win it on an improbable 3 at an actual very exciting women's basketball game. I have to confess, I caught bits and pieces of this, including the end, and rather enjoyed it. And it's good for women's basketball. As I said earlier in the show, you can't have UConn win it every year and be taken seriously. So now, 2 of the last, 3 or 4 years, we've had somebody else win it. That's a good sign that the women's game is growing. Maybe I'll watch more. Not that you need me to. Those of you that are big proponents of women's basketball, you say, we don't need you, Cameron. We don't want you. You go to hell. You patronize us. I understand. But I rather enjoyed it. Just as an aside, I represent 99% of the men out there listening. You guys, you're not inclined to watch it, but you did. Maybe you watched a little and you thought, this is better. I agree. I'm with you. As for tonight's game, Michigan's defense has been so good all year long, and it better be really, really good tonight, because while I think Beilein is a great coach, Jalen Brunson is operating Villanova's offense in a way that sees them get good looks time and again. And I don't know. That could Xavier Simpson, Jalen Brunson, that's the matchup tonight I most want to see. It's the one I'm most excited about. Spellman and Wagner, both good. That's another good matchup. This is a good matchup. We do get a great defensive team against a great offensive team. We talked about the efficiency ratings last week on the program, and Villanova seemed to be the most likely candidate to get to the finals. They were number 1 offensively in adjusted offensive efficiency. They were 14th defensively, so they're no slouch there. So I'm not surprised to see them. Michigan has won with defense. They haven't always shot it well, save for the Texas A&M game. They're going to have to shoot it well tonight, though. They're going to have to shoot better than they have.
Well, they generate open looks. You just got to hit them.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's as simple as that. But you're right. If you're just looking at one end of the court, in the half court, it is Villanova's offense against Michigan's defense. And, of course, the battle along the boards is going to be important, too. Michigan, a very good rebounding team on the defensive end. We saw they don't challenge on the offensive end a bunch if they think you can get out and transition. But who controls the glass for second chance points if Villanova does not make its first shot? And how does the half court look in general? You can usually tell these things, too, by about, TV timeout 2 or TV timeout 3 in the first half. But because we knew it. Think about it. A few years ago, we were at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for a opening day watch party. We stayed for the national title game.
It was incredible.
And we knew from the word go that North Carolina Villanova was going to be down to the wire, and that's exactly what it was. So hopefully that's tonight again.
Yeah, I love it. I hope we get that tonight. Great matchup. By the way, if Villanova wins, they've already won 8 tournament games, if you combine the Big East and the NCAA tournament, by an average of 18 points. I mean, just straight housing everybody. It's relentless. And they've got guys, you know how on the international stage in soccer, one of the advancements long ago, the Dutch did it, Brazil has done it, the ability to play multiple positions to kind of the ebb and flow of a game and watching guys capable of playing every position on the field, save for goalie. Villanova's that way with their wings. They're that way as they're interchangeable. It is incredible to watch, and they switch so well. It's hard to think of a way that Michigan wins, but it would be with relentless defense, and it would have to be a lower scoring game. I don't think they're going to win this game if we start getting up into the low 80s, high 70s. I don't think so. But it's a good game. It should be fun to watch. Kansas got dismantled. I did not see Kansas getting dismantled that way. That game, 13 threes in the first half.
I watched a good portion of Loyola, Michigan on Saturday, but I actually took in a minor league hockey game in Pensacola. I saw the Ice Flyers against the Birmingham Bulls. That game was entertaining, but I didn't really need to check in with Villanova, Kansas. You can kind of tell. I was like, I don't need to race to the TV to see the final 4 minutes of this game.
No, that was the end of that. Florida State over the weekend, 2 of 3 from Louisville. They keep on keeping on winning series. How long before Carp is in the rotation on the weekend? That's where we're getting. That's clearly where we're headed. It's a good problem to have. It's just something to think about.
I'm going to pull up the schedule now. When's the last time we play Florida midweek? And I wonder if that's not the last time you see him pitch on a weekday.
Well, he's about tired of shutting down Florida only to lose. Man, I hate it for that kid. But some exciting moments over the weekend, including a walk-off home run, which is always fun to watch. And, listen, a big picture here is that Florida State's winning these series against teams in the ACC, in their division, most importantly. They're doing the right thing. I mean, ordinarily, had we gotten a win against Florida, we wouldn't really even be pointing to very many of the negatives at all. There are some, but there's no perfect team out there. Just continue to win series against good teams. And obviously, they're well on track there, much more so than they were last year at this time.
Yeah, the final game against Florida is a week from tomorrow.
That's correct.
And it's right here at Dick Howser Stadium. So my guess would be, we host Duke that weekend. You see the old rotation for that weekend, and then maybe the third week in April is when you might see Carp enter the weekend rotation.
I want Jonathan Foster to be hitting at all times. I've seen enough in 2 home runs to know he has to be hitting. He was the giver of the 2-run pinch hit walk-off home run against Louisville on Friday night at Dick Howser Stadium, 8-7. His second home run of the season. It was his first at bat of the night. And that's how, by the way, that ball was up around his eyes. He tomahawked it Oh, I was waiting. I
boy,
was so
there it is.
waiting. It's so bad, but
Boy.
I got it in there.
Is that what we do on a morning?
Okay, so on that note, I mentioned it last hour and the previous. This is recorded. You're listening to this now. I'm not here. I'm in Augusta. That's right. Headed to the Masters for the first few days anyhow. We'll be there today through Wednesday. Back with you on Thursday for sure. May get a broadcast in from Augusta. I hope so. But, man, I've been waiting on this moment. I'm going to certainly go and support Harry Ellis of Florida State University. Trey Jones, kind enough to bring me along. And so I owe Florida State Golf and Trey Jones and his family a big thank you. But I will be there, and I will be taking it all in. Should be an absolute blast and a chance to get up there tonight and go to a dinner and watch this championship basketball game and maybe mingle with the greats. Who knows? Apparently it's going to be a good time. But I'm also going to be endeavoring to get interviews and the like. I'm going to bring equipment. Hopefully I have an opportunity to, at the very least, these days, cell phone interview somebody and talk to some players and, embrace that. But I'll be back for Thursday and Friday show for sure. Verge of sneezing.
Okay.
On the cusp of sneezing.
Well, you know what's nothing to sneeze at right now is Rory McIlroy on the greens, sir. And we haven't talked about Rory and his putting prowess.
Well, okay, so Rory, Tiger, Phil, Dustin playing this year. Jordan Spieth just played really well in Houston and hasn't been, so the Houston Open saw him get back to form. Jason Day has played great this year. Obviously, Justin Thomas has been dominant. Jon Rahm. This has the makings of being one of the best leaderboards on a Sunday at Augusta that we've seen in many, many years. Usually you get a couple of good, obviously you get a couple of the elite players there in contention, but we have been waiting for this moment of young versus old. You've wanted to see some combination of Tiger and Phil taking on the young guys, whether that be Spieth and Thomas or Rahm, and obviously when Brooks Koepka before his injury was on that list. You want to see that.
It only happens once in a generation where you get a battle of all battles, kind of like what happened with Phil and Henrik Stenson at the Open Championship, because that's two guys playing at the peak of their abilities.
Lapping the field.
It doesn't always happen here. And so what I caution is if you can swing it, no pun intended, but pull up on your devices on Thursday the app that allows you to see the featured groups and Amen Corner and 15 and 16. Because this isn't going to be about the formation of Thursday through Saturday. It's going to be about the moving parts getting to Sunday. If any one of these guys decides to go crazy, Rory, Jordan, Tiger even, or Phil, they can beat the rest of the field by 3 or 4 shots. It may not make for the best Sunday that you've ever seen. The first page of the leaderboard could be star-studded, but if Rory decides to go all nuclear on you, he's going to win the thing by 5, and it's not going to be interesting in that sense. So watch these formative moments, too, because I think that's where the fun may be. You're never guaranteed a great Sunday, but you could be guaranteed a great weekend.
Yeah, and this does have the feel, like as we sit here on a Monday, it has the feel that this is going to be great. Now, we always hope for it, but you don't always have conviction that it's going to be. I think we all kind of have a feeling, rightfully so. Think about this. How many playoffs have we already had this year?
Sure.
I mean, just had another one. We're in the midst of setting records for playoffs right now, and it speaks to, again, how many great players there are on tour currently and how closely they compete on a regular basis towards the top of the leaderboard. Now, I know this weekend was, Bo Hostler and Ian Poulter, but certainly Ian Poulter's a name, his third PGA Tour win. I'm pretty clutch at that, a 20-foot putt on 18 to get it to extra holes. But every time I look up PGA Tour, you're getting into a playoff with big names, Phil Mickelson, Justin Thomas. We're in a playoff.
Right.
I mean, you're seeing
you
that,
have
right?
that. You have that this weekend. It's a legendary Masters. But the thing is, if any one of those guys goes nuts, then someone else has to go equally crazy in order to keep pace. Because Justin Thomas, who can do no wrong, will set records, or he will lap the field. You got to have somebody else come for the ride. If they all play pretty well, then yes, it may actually end up being a great Masters where anybody on holes 13 to 18 in one given moment can win the damn thing. That's what we're all hoping for, yeah. But if Rory plays at his best, or Jordan plays at his best, or Phil, or Justin Thomas, or Justin Rose, I mean, if any one of those guys goes insane, then Sunday may not be all that great. So go along for the ride here. This is not about cherry picking a Sunday at Augusta. This is it's going to be so much fun to see. I mean, and you pointed out in the first hour, Sergio Garcia. Tee to Green is the best player on the tour.
Right now, yeah. He is gaining the most amount of strokes from tee to green than anybody. It's really not that close, actually, which tells you if he putts at all, he could win again. He could win back-to-back. He could go from a whole career of not having won to winning back-to-back.
What's the number one key for Rory and what's the number one key for Sergio? It's the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Get a putt.
It's putting and confidence that comes with it. Well, Sergio has to feel confident on these greens. He's won here.
One of the things you may not have seen over the weekend that I think is really, really cool, and it kind of on the heels of our discussion last week about how I felt about Peter Warrick. Did you see LeBron James tweet?
Yes.
So, quote, "The reason I wore number 9 at wideout in high school, congrats Peter Warrick," and he tweeted that out and retweeted FSU football's tweet about Peter Warrick's number 9 being retired this fall. LeBron James, and okay, look, I don't freak out over social media stuff much anymore. It's actually rather annoying, and by and large, on a regular basis, if you engage in it, you find that you rather loathe it. But those moments, now that's cool. I mean, LeBron James is LeBron James. I mean, he's in the discussion as one of the 5 best players in the history of the NBA, and he's talking about admiring, idolizing Peter Warrick. Really cool. It's also great pub for Florida State yet again.
Well, it lets you know how cool and good Peter Warrick was, is that it wasn't just about, a college football nation that loved him. It was that the whole nation knew how good of an athlete that dude was. And, I saw a tweet yesterday about, if you need a lesson, Tom, here's the highlight clips. I remember the highlight clips, but I'm talking about the week-to-week magic.
Every week.
Because when you're in it, like with Dalvin Cook, you know what you're going along for the ride.
Doesn't take long, usually. You're like, that's different.
When you're 12, you get to see the big plays, and you remember the big plays. You consume things a little bit differently. But LeBron was a front runner. LeBron loved the Yankees. That's why he wore the Yankee cap. And remember, that was a big scandal years ago. He was at an Indians game, and he was wearing a Yankees cap and hanging out with the Cowboys. And then, of course, he was a Knoll fan, too. He liked Ohio State, but he was a Knoll fan growing up because we were the best. So, makes sense. It makes sense.
Peter Warrick sent to LeBron James an invite to be at the ceremony and told him he has a jersey waiting on him if he'd like it. If somehow Willie Taggart and Peter Warrick are able to get LeBron James to start coming to Florida State football games and be seen at Florida State football games, I'm not kidding. Like, all jokes aside, that's a big deal in recruiting.
It is a big deal. And again, I saw this also. Somebody else put this out as a suggestion on the social media Twitter site. It makes too much sense to retire his jersey against Virginia Tech.
Oh,
I know.
That's
the team you want to retire his jersey for.
And that catches forevermore. And there's the story in the story in the huddle is that basically Winky wants to end the game, and P-Dub's like, I got you.
Yes.
Let's go. Yeah.
Well, and Virginia Tech has been snarky about things with Florida State over the years, the bowl streak, among other things. This is a perfect time to remind them about what did actually happen in New Orleans that fateful night. And it's also in September when, LeBron may have a night to spare. If you do this later in the year.
Make it happen.
If you do it later in the year, that's the NBA season. But if you do it Labor Day weekend, I'll bet he could make that flight.
Speaking of football, of course, the scrimmage over the weekend and a ton of recruits in town, 15 players. It marks a shift in recruiting philosophy as Florida State continues to try to catch up, still feels a little bit behind about the 2019 class and attempting to kind of bridge that gap. We talked about it last hour with Ira Schafel. If you missed that interview, again, you can find it at the conclusion of the show. Go back, go to ESPN Tallahassee, or go on iTunes and you'll find it. But a little bit different in recruiting. Now, again, we're not getting a lot out of that scrimmage. That was not something the press could watch. But it is certainly telling that every time Coach Taggart gets an opportunity to talk about what his team's doing is, A, most notably, the defense is still ahead of the offense, as he suspected it would be, and as it usually is this time of year. And B, you got a couple of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball that continue to turn heads. Tamron Terry's name continues to come up. That's exciting because that's a kid who physically we looked at a year ago and said that's going to be special. It's good to see him starting to step up at a time where they're really thin at wide receiver and need people to step up. They're getting guys to do that. I don't get the sense that the production offensively is down because they don't have the bodies at receiver. but rather because they're running at breakneck speed. He is trying to get them to understand not just the concepts, but how quickly we want to go. So he's expecting mistakes. He's seen mistakes. He's not discouraged. The defense is ahead of the offense. It always is in the spring, no matter what you're running. But, again, some of the younger players on both sides of the ball beginning to show real promise and stepping up. I think kind of the story of the spring has been the young DBs, and then, obviously, Tamron Terry, DJ Matthews on offense, to some extent, James Blackman.
Yeah, that's going to be the fun part of the spring game is what is Woodby. You get to see what Jalen Woodby, or Jaden Woodby, I should say, is all about. The offensive line has to hold up against our first-team defensive line, which is still among the top in college football. And then one nuance to the offense, motion penalties. We'll see how many of those there are. If you're trying to run at a breakneck speed, everybody's got to get set. But then we all know that we're trying to run faster, so maybe somebody jumps.
Well, I can just tell you that we ran at the slowest speed imaginable prior and still had motion penalties and had guys false start with the best of them.
Oh, there's no doubt. Because
I'd rather be running my ass off and do that than continually take our sweet time to do it.
Well, if you're in a squat position for 30 seconds, I mean, that probably gets a little old. You
Burns,
may flinch.
Burns a little bit, just a little bit. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Smoother, bolder, sharper, comfier, smarter, fiercer, tougher, stronger, longer, greater, prouder. Gravely Zero Turn Mowers.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I was reading a Rob Doster piece yesterday from NBC Sports, covers college basketball, really good at it, noting that if Villanova wins tonight, well, go back even further. Since moving to the Big East, they've won 4 Big East regular season titles, 3 Big East tournament titles. A win on Monday night would give them a 165-21 record over that stretch. The most wins in a 5-year period, by the way, for any program since the NCAA tournament field expanded to 64 teams. So one of the greatest 5-year stretches at a program anywhere ever in the history of college basketball. I don't know that that's necessarily been pinpointed by many. That just exactly what Jay Wright's doing there. That's an average of 33 wins and 4 losses a year. That's it. 33 and 4 is what he's averaging.
Yeah, that's insane, and it's also not just basically built up because he's at a mid-level conference, because when he has a chance to play the best, Villanova beats the best, and they're doing so regularly.
Yeah, and the Big East isn't weak. I mean, it's still a good conference.
It's still good.
Since going over there, it's not what it once was.
It's not a Power 5 level depth with like the ACC or the Big 12 was this year, but yes, there's no doubt.
It's still pretty good.
It's not punchless.
No, and, well, they're 88-15 against the Big East. I mean, they've owned it like it's punchless.
Right.
But it's not what it once was, but it is a good top 3, top 4 league in terms of
somewhere in there. Yeah,
somewhere in there. It had 2 number 1 seeds this year.
Yeah.
So you'd say that,
so they
right?
got that going for them.
You got that going for them. Now we dispatched of one.
We sure did.
By the way, that is the other thing that's kind of come out in this situation is watching Michigan go to the championship game and seeing the way that we played them with no fast break points to speak of. So completely out of what we do, as forced by Michigan to their credit, to play the game the way they wanted to play it, the way that they can dominate it, and to have a look at 3 not once but twice to tie the game in the waning minutes. I'm not saying that, I'm so proud, moral victory, but really, you're playing a team tonight that has a chance to win the national title. You lost by 4 to them in a style of game that was not suited to you, that made you play really well on defense yet again. I traditionally don't think that there's a carryover effect from one season to the other. I talk about that in football all the time. Team wins a big bowl game, and people go, I can't wait till next year. I'm like, we'll see. It doesn't necessarily carry over. I don't know that this experience and the way we had to play in that game, even in a loss to Michigan, and the way that they played in that tournament period, doesn't show them once again the way, right? Because offensively, by and large, you expect them to continue to be good, if not much better next year with a healthy Trent Forrest for the full season, right? And the growth of an MJ Walker. We've documented all of this. So I look at tonight's final, and people are going to watch, and they get excited about the championship. But how does it pertain to Florida State? Well, we saw them against a team playing for tonight's national championship, and we saw them play toe-to-toe. And I do think they can take the effort on defense by which they played in this tournament and carry it over to next year to put together a very special season. I do.
They can, but this is where, now that you have some expectations, the cannibalization of the season comes into play. Because, for 2 reasons. Number one, there's a danger that the team understands from last year. Well, as long as we get in the dance, we can do anything. You can't take anything for granted in the ACC. You got to earn your way back.
That's right.
So how do you handle the burden of expectations? Do you do so by saying, well, as long as we get in, we can go as far as we want to go? Or do you take it seriously from the first tip-off in November through your non-conference and into conference season? So that burden is one test for them. And then the second thing is they can be better, and they could lose to a team because they get a bad draw next year, and we call it a bad season or a disappointing season.
Right.
That's the hard part here.
Well, and you got to be careful not to do that. And a good example of how fluky the tournament is, besides the fact that Virginia and the AP Coach of the Year, Tony Bennett, won 30-plus games, set a school record, cruised through the regular season, cruised through the ACC tournament, won both, and then got ousted in the first round by a 16 seed, becoming the first ever team to do that. That is to say, fall to a 16 seed. There, in a nutshell, is an example of the flukiness of a one-and-done situation. But another one is on display in the form of Villanova. Villanova has been a 1 seed or a 2 seed. I think it's 4 times. I'll double-check this number here. I was just reading this before. 4 times in this great run with Jay Wright that I was just alluding to. Well, they've either lost in the national – so this is funny. They've never lost in the second weekend of the tournament. They either made it to the national title game or they lost in the second round as a 1 or 2 seed.
Huh.
So that's it.
Right.
You know, it was either infinite frustration after a brilliant regular season or we're cutting down the nets, we've won it all. And they may be cutting it down again. And so you'd be looking at a team who would have won 2 national championships in 3 years, but also would have been ousted in the first weekend,
Yes.
with teams that won, on average, 33 games. So it just shows you it is about matchups.
It is about matchups, and again, it takes away from the joy of the regular season. Now that we've gone on an Elite 8 run, it's 2 sides of the same coin. We are automatically a dangerous team if we make the tournament next year because we have been there, we've done that.
Well, next year will be a much more well-regarded program, I think, because they'll have a higher seed.
Even if we're on the bubble, though, and we make it, no matter what happens prior to that, because of this year's example and what you've seen from this roster, even if we're on the bubble next year and we just make it in, we're going to expect to be in that game to make the Sweet 16. That's just going to be the expectation. But the problem with that is I hope that we don't lose sight that the regular season is a journey too, and there's a lot of good games to be played here. It's like we're almost skipping a step. That's what I'm afraid of, is that the fan base who didn't believe and decided not to show up the last game of the season against Boston College in a win and you're in situation. I'm not going to let that go.
I don't think so.
And I shouldn't, and that's crazy.
Well, we've had more striking examples of poor fandom, but I understand.
But this is what you've been begging for, right?
Yeah.
And so here's your chance. My fear is that we're going to skip the step and say, well, we're in the tournament. It's about how far do we go.
I think what's on display there, Tom, wasn't just a sad effort from a fan base that has been clamoring for sustainability in terms of success and then not showing up to help it along the way. I think it was that they were playing poorly down the stretch. And what it tells me is this, that this fan base is at a place still where they're looking for a reason to jump off. They're looking for a reason not to be there when it matters most, or to point fingers and say, see, they're still in that place. What a great regular season next year does is not guarantee you, like you're talking about, a deep run in the NCAA tournament, just like an average season this year, which got you into the tournament, could not have been something you thought was portend or did portend of an Elite 8 run. It's that if you sustain excellence of 20 to 25 wins a year for long enough, those kinds of moments where the ugliness is revealed, or the lack of dedication and commitment is revealed, those begin to wane. They become fewer and further between. That's where I want us to get. I'm looking at the slow growth and rise of this thing.
Okay, what I implore then for next year is just a simple thing. If the team is capable of beating a North Carolina like it was this year, a Florida on the road, if it shows you it's capable of that,
this year,
all you got to do is get in and support it to the point where you get in. Like if Taggart or Jimbo back in the day talks about the ACC being such a tough league that 6-2 in conference is acceptable, you tell them to go to hell all day long. That's not what this is about. Not in this conference. Maybe in a random year where you get a bad draw on the other side of the conference and there's a bunch of senior-laden teams.
Like this one where you have Virginia Tech and you have, obviously, every year Clemson, and then you also face Miami on the road. And you have.
But I'm talking about when we're actually achieving what our standard should be.
Right.
Again, this basketball program doesn't recruit like a Duke or North Carolina or even a Louisville. And so when you play in a conference like the ACC, and Leonard talks about how difficult it is to win in the ACC, and you have a chance to make it to the tournament, the big one from the ACC, let this year be the lesson.
Because anything's possible once you get there.
Because you have been so battle-tested by a league that's as deep as any in the country.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I do think the sustainability of consistent fan base support and attendance and all the other things we like to associate with successful seasons and programs happen, again, with another great campaign next year, going back to the tournament. That would be back-to-back-to-back years. After, on the heels of an Elite Eight run, getting back to the tournament, people would begin to say, I believe in it. I'm I'm there with you now. Now, it shouldn't take the kicking, dragging, screaming, but, I think it does. I would say, too, in terms of what he's doing in recruiting, man, this run is going to continue to open doors, and they're going to continue to raise. He's already a good recruiter. That's what he's primarily known as.
And, if you listen to the reports, and you talked about it last week, C.J. Walker, obviously, he's transferring out, and there's probably a rhyme to that, or a reason to that rhyme, I should say. If you listen to Front Row Knowles last week, Tom Block said there's likely a transfer coming in, and we're in the market for a couple of grad transfers at the guard position. So that may be something that bolsters us right away because you're getting a veteran presence who can run the point.
Other schools routinely benefit from that rule that we see now. So many programs, Louisville, chief amongst them, of guys transferring in who have established game, who are very good players that I don't know we were ever really truly looked at as a destination. I don't really know we were on that radar for that caliber of a player. That's what a run like this year does. That's what sustained excellence and back-to-back-to-back-to-back, if you can do that, does. It makes you viable in the eyes of obviously more skilled players, but players who are on the cusp of transferring, unhappy somewhere else, who were once considering Florida State but went the other place. Maybe then they look at it as, they're winning over there in the best conference in America. By the way, I cracked up over the weekend as we go to break. Tampa Bay Times writing an article about Leonard Hamilton and about how it is Florida State fans should be happy that Leonard Hamilton is there. So I thought, okay, I'll buy it. I'll read that. I read it, and as with most things involving FSU and the Tampa Bay Times, it's a backhanded compliment. They're like, well, in any given year, it would have been a really big deal for Florida State to beat Florida in basketball like they did on the road. I wanted to write in, we beat them every year in basketball.
Who was that, Jones that wrote it?
No, surprisingly it wasn't. But, yeah, he wrote that. Hey, to tell you how special of a year it was for Florida State, any given year, they've beaten Florida the way they did down in Gainesville would have been the highlight of a season for Florida State fans. We beat Florida State.
Oh, really?
We beat Florida in basketball.
The highlight of pre-New Year's. But we beat ACC Blue Bloods, regularly enough that it's not stunning.
Well, we beat Florida every year. I mean, that's just like, we're playing Florida again this year? It looks like another win in basketball.
They just lost their Lightning beat reporter, so they've gone back to full rag status.
Here we go. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Landowners, your Mahindra dealer is ready to help you save during Mahindra's Red Tag Sale. Enjoy up to $7,900 in tractor cash back and savings, or utility vehicle savings up to $1,700. Plus, Mahindra's industry-leading warranties still come standard. So hurry in for Mahindra's Red Tag Savings.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574 4100.
Start at just $28.99. Go to TNTSuperCenter.com for current inventory and pricing.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
And now Jeff and Eddie waste my time instead of recording a commercial.
I know we got to record this one, but remember that time with the thing and the guy?
Oh, and then we did that.
It was by the pool. It was by
right,
the pool.
and then
that guy jumped. The one guy
with the Speedo.
That was ridiculous.
Man, what a day! And then the guy
he came up with the food.
The truck.
He didn't even know. Had no idea.
And how about those girls?
If we could only recreate that, ridiculous. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You can do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to super lube my car, yes sir.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. A college basketball champion will be crowned tonight in San Antonio. Villanova and Michigan meet up in the national title game. Wildcats, a 6.5-point favorite, according to Westgate Superbook. That's the biggest favorite in a national championship game in 6 years. NBA Celtics forward Gordon Hayward has begun light on-court jogging in the latest step in his recovery from a fractured ankle. Coach Brad Stevens stressed today, though, that Hayward is still a long, long way from basketball activities and reaffirmed he is not playing this season, but Stevens acknowledged that jogging is an encouraging step forward for Hayward. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, former UCLA football coach Jim Mora stood by his opinion that USC quarterback Sam Darnold is a better fit for the Browns and one than Bruins QB Josh Rosen. He added he believes Rosen is the number one quarterback in the draft and a franchise changer. Mora described Rosen as a millennial who can get bored easily if he's not challenged intellectually. Baseball, Yankees home opener versus the Rays, postponed by snow, rescheduled for 4:05 Eastern tomorrow. New York skipper Aaron Boone said he still plans to stick with lefty Jordan Montgomery. Tampa Bay will counter with Chris Archer. NHL, Blues forward Scotty Upshall out indefinitely with a lacerated kidney. Another injury for St. Louis to deal with as it fights for a playoff spot in the Western Conference.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, wrapping it up. Thanks for your patience as we recorded, as I said, this morning. And I will be in awe of Augusta at the time you're listening to this. I think just about arriving there and knowing the way I drive, right?
Yes. Usually Google Maps gives you a bit of an exaggeration on the long end.
You like to laugh whenever we see that, right? Whenever Google Maps says 5 hours, 45 minutes. If I'm driving, you're like, all right, going to be there in 5.
Yeah, exactly. If you actually get there when it says you're going to get there, I'll be so disappointed. It hasn't happened yet.
No, it's never unless I get in trouble, like I get a speeding ticket or I don't know what else could happen. I mean, God forbid an accident.
Well, dude,
but
yeah, come on.
No, barring that,
Yeah.
no, I'll get there, baby. I'll be there right. Well, and I'm eager to get there. I got to be careful not to speed the way that I'd like to speed because I am obviously anticipating this and have been for 30-something years.
I wonder if Augusta police actually do see a spike in
I would guess
activity.
So. As closer you get, they're like just pulling them over.
They just know it.
By one,
Yeah.
one
Yep.
by one. Yeah. So get there
Dustin
tonight.
Johnson. Hello. How are you? Paulina.
Yeah. Why are you in such a hurry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, should be a good time, and we'll all root for Harry to play really well. Florida State, Harry Ellis, who has had a chance to play the course now prior to this week 6 times, and obviously you'd want to see Daniel Berger play well. I wish Brooks Koepka were playing. I think he'll be there. Get a chance to see him.
It'll be interesting, though, because the practice rounds, at least if you did so recently, the weather's different. It's colder. That's what Tiger said. He practiced, I think, 2 weeks ago now, and he said it was so cold the ball's not going anywhere. So it's going to be a little bit different this week. So even if you get a little, work in, it could be that Thursday, Friday, you see a different course altogether.
I brought plenty of the long shirts. I've been told by more than one veteran that you'll have, if you're there, I'm going to be there for 3 days, that you'll have at least one day where it shifts dramatically and everybody's like, good God, man. And you'll go broke running to the pro shop buying all your Masters sweatshirts,
yes.
which they count on. What would you like, buddy? I'll bring you back something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sure. I mean, within reason.
A flag stick?
Yeah, I'll bring you back something. I'll bring you Matthew, what do you want, buddy? What do you want? You want a hat? You're a hat guy. You want a hat?
Yeah, he says sure.
You're a hat guy. You want a hat?
If they got
you
fitted
too many
hats.
Yeah, if they're not fitted.
If they are fitted, what's the 7 3/8?
Man, I'm Barry Bonds over here. I must be taking roids because it goes up. Did your head expand as you got older?
No, I lost hair, and so it got smaller.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I have a big head. Everybody can see that. It's gigantic.
Yeah, 5/8, 7 and 5/8.
7 and 5/8?
Yeah.
All right. Would you want a hat or you want a shirt?
I'll have to look at the catalog. I won't go crazy. I don't know what they offer. I mean,
I'll tell you what. I will be there. I will be enjoying myself. I will find something I think you would like, and I'll bring it back. I'll make sure of it. 7 and 5/8 if it's a hat.
Yeah.
But I know what you like. I know the kinds of things you like.
And don't give me like the flat billed hat. Nonsense.
Come on, man,
they probably don't even sell that crap.
Plus,
there.
you don't have to say that to me. You know better than that. I'll do the right thing here. I'll get you something cool.
Just bring me home a memory.
Would you want a yardage book, Tom?
Can you get me a signed Nestle Quick? Can Harry Ellis sign a Nestle Quick?
He would do it, and he would laugh. If he's heard the bit, he would really laugh. I don't know that he has, but if so, yeah, I think I'll have to tell him about it. I'm going to see him.
Jeffrey, why would you do that? It's only Thursday in Augusta.
He would love it. Let's do some probables. Fire it up, my friend.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Really weird to hear this song in the morning. Doesn't fit as well.
You want the summer breeze instead?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, we're playing make-believe here.
I haven't hit summer breeze yet this year. I'll do that another day.
A little bit warmer. I was hanging out with Corey Clark over the weekend and his young son, along with mine. And we were playing baseball outside, enjoying the sun. But it hit me, Tom. That heat's coming. My bald head took a beating.
Oh, did it really?
I'll be okay, but it's coming.
You got to give it the T-Length all over treatment.
Nobody uses as much sunscreen as Tom Lang, ladies and gentlemen, when we golf. You would think he was scarred as a young child somewhere on the beaches of St. Pete, Tampa, and that has forever stuck with him.
It's relatively true.
Is it? You have a severe
some of the sunburns I got? Ooh. My God. Yeah, but I've been putting off. I need to go. There's some.
I got a gal for you.
There's some slicing and dicing that
She's
needs to be done.
also known as a doctor, but I've got a gal for you.
She's behind the Canopy Road, Tom. She does great work.
She's waiting right over there. Scalpel's clean and everything. White Sox, Jays. It's at 7 o'clock tonight. Ronaldo Lopez. Jaime Garcia. Orioles, Astros, Chris Tillman, Charlie Morton on the bump. We got Red Sox, Marlins, Brian Johnson, and Trevor Richards. I got to give it up to the Marlins. After I teased them on opening day, they turned around and told the Cubs, get you some.
That's right.
It was beautiful.
The gate's going to be good for them, too, because they went from Cubs to Red Sox.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of people.
They'll be all right. Phillies, Mets. Oh, you too. Little early season battle.
Yeah.
Ben Lively going against Matt Harvey.
Oh, God.
The Mirror.
Oh, no. Harvey's pitching tonight.
Nats, Braves, Tanner Roark. Sean Newcomb going for the Atlanta Braves. Can you hear that game right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio or nay?
Not tonight. Actually, coming up
National
in about
Championship basketball.
Yeah, 40 minutes. We got pregame coverage, Westwood One's coverage of the national title game. Braves will be on the air tomorrow night, however.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe even the lengthy pregame show.
Yeah, well, we may have time.
Dodgers, D-backs. Ryu. Hunjin Ryu goes for the Dodgers. Tawan Walker goes for the D-backs. We got Rangers, Athletics. Bartolo Colon is still in the league, ladies and gentlemen, and he's pitching tonight. The fatty fat was really good in spring training, might note. Had 5 starts. Finished the spring with a 3 ERA and a 1-1 whip.
Really?
They were like, all right, stay on board.
I wonder how.
Yeah. Andrew Triggs goes for the A's. We've got Indians, Angels, Mike Clevenger. Hey, we know him. I don't, but somebody that we know does.
Apparently, he hated Mickey Callaway, the Mets manager.
Really?
When he was gone, I said, hey, what does he think about it? Because he's a pitching guru?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did nothing for me, is the response. Okay.
J.C. Ramirez goes for the Angels. Rockies, Padres, Chad Bettis, diabetes. Brian Mitchell goes for the
just because it kind of rhymes?
Yeah,
because he's big.
I just felt like saying it. No, he's not fat.
I thought he was big and you were making fun of him.
No. I saw Bettis and I wanted to say Bettis.
Having a funnel cake, are you, Bettis? Dude, I'm 210 and sculpted.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, sure. Eat them all day long if you like.
Bettis?
Jack McKeon used to make fun of Brad Hand. Get mad at him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because he was
he just disliked him.
Well, we used to Brian Schaus. We used to mock him because he played for the Rangers, and the Rangers S on his jersey looked like a 5, so we called him Five House. And he hated us because the bullpen's along the third baseline.
That's brutal. Brian Mitchell's going to pitch for the Padres, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. All right, hold it down, kids. I'll be gone for just 2 days. I will attempt to maybe give you something of insight from what I'm seeing there in and around the grounds at Augusta. I'm not a crazy tweeter, but I might be over the next couple of days with photos and the like, however much I can get in there. And if I can get some broadcast work in, I will do that as well. At least that's the hope, right?
We'll be standing by.
Well, I mean, it's a fine line. I've told everybody this because, hey, I get it. This is a work week. Everybody's doing what they got to do, and you have a certain mindset that comes with that. And if you've ever wanted to go to Augusta and you haven't gone, you don't exactly need somebody telling you about how it is they're going this week. While you're at work, they'll be there at the Masters. At the same time, you want to tell your friends when you're going to the Masters because you're excited to go. And so I've kind of had that. It's been tough.
But you cover sports. You're not going there just to walk the grounds and see the par 3 and say, hey, it's Jack. You're going to be walking between the lines with Harry. So you're going to get an inside view of the experience of somebody who's going to play in his first Masters. So there you go.
Well, and that's really cool. But see, again, is that overboard? Do I need to tell everybody that, or do I just need to make mention? I mean, I think,
you got perspective of what it's like, those quiet moments the night before somebody's preparing for the Masters.
Ooh, don't talk about it. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting weird.
He'll get nervous.
I'm nervous for him, but I don't want to project that. I don't want to be around him all nervous.
This will be the hardest you've ever rooted for an amateur ever in a golf tournament.
By far.
Because you'll have been, entrenched.
Yeah, well, Drew Kittleson came on my show back in the day.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and he got to do it, and it was the first time I really talked to Trey at length and got to know him a little bit. And I remember watching Drew and how nervous he was. I wasn't there. I'm saying I watched from afar, and that was a cool conversation to have. And obviously Jonas Blix almost won the damn thing. His first ever attempt at the Masters was in a position to do so. And now Harry. And obviously Trey's got a stable of guys right now at Florida State that have been making the program proud and him proud. I mean, the fact that Brooks Koepka won the U.S. Open last year has continued to elevate this program. Daniel Berger continues to be a huge success on tour, and they're soon to have a bunch. I mean, I think Harry's going to have a great pro career, and John Pack is a freshman at Florida State. He's in the running for Freshman of the Year nationally, is a brilliant player, has already won multiple times as a true freshman, and he's got, Tom, when you watch him play, he's got the game, the mentality to win and win big. He went low in the win. Nobody else could go low. He shot a 65. He's
one of those.
He's one of those. He's like, oh, I see you. You're one of those guys. And super nice. Gave my kids a golf ball and everything else. He's like really cool to everybody out there. He gets it. He completely gets it.
So perhaps he's playing in this thing either next year or the year after that.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have any doubt he will play a Masters. And that program's doing big things. So to bring it back home to Florida State, that there's a lot of good stuff going on there. Good work out of you, sir. Good work, Matthew. Thanks for coming in early, everybody. And I'll talk to you guys bare minimum by Thursday. Hopefully, social media-wise, I'll do a little bit more than that. Be well, everybody.